The pill was stunned for a moment. The pill was stunned for a moment. He did not expect Long Fei to take the initiative and request to increase the wager. That's not right. This was probably because he wanted to die in an even more unsightly manner. The pill immediately said, "The excitement of the bet? What do you want to bet?" Long Fei said, "Since it is exciting, then of course it is the wager. Whoever loses will take off all their clothes and run 10 laps around the powder-making competition stage. What do you say? Do you dare?" The corner of the medicinal pill's mouth curled up as it laughed sinisterly. "You are courting death. You cannot blame me." "Then you bet. I'll have to trouble Patriarch Mu to bear witness. If he doesn't admit his loss." Mu Xiaoyao immediately laughed. "Pill Elder, don't worry. With me here, even if he does not admit defeat, I will still let him finish crawling 10 rounds." The alchemy that Long Fei had displayed was very strong. Once these kind of people were identified as enemies, then they definitely could not be allowed to leave alive. Long Fei laughed and said, "Patriarch Mu, do you want to take a gamble too?" Mu Xiaoyao smiled slightly. "Brat, I don't have the leisure play with you. If you want to bet, after we finish challenging the drug race, I'll bet with you." "Oh, is the spirit powder not interested?" Long Fei smiled playfully. Mu Xiaoyao's expression immediately changed. Upon hearing the word spirit powder, he secretly clenched his fists and stared at Long Fei with gloomy eyes. "What do you want to bet?" I suddenly don't want to gamble with people like you anymore. Gambling with people like you is just wasting my time." Long Fei's tone changed. He was trying to sound out Mu Xiaoyao's words. Seeing his nervous expression, Long Fei thought in his heart, "It looks like he doesn't know the limitations of the realm in the spirit powder. How dare you?" Mu Xiaoyao was toyed with, and her anger instantly burst out, as though she was in a bad mood. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "I am just that presumptuous. Don't worry, I will let you see the spirit powder." Hearing Long Fei's words, Mu Xiaoyao's heart tensed up again. He stared at Man Tuoyuo with a sinister gaze. His killing intent was extremely strong. He knew clearly in his heart that the spirit powder was researched and created by Man Tuoyuo. But in just a few days, there would be people who could refine spirit powder, and once this kind of pill was promoted. Thinking about it, Mu Xiaoyao's heart tensed up. Today, no matter what, we cannot let them leave here alive. Absolutely not. The spirit grass is here. The two disciples had brought out the spirit grasses they needed to refine blue panacea, and each had one. At this moment, Yao Lang gave a light nod of his head to the medicinal pellet on the powder-making competition stage, and the medicinal pellet became excited as he disdainfully thought to himself, "Brat, let's see how I'll toy you to death this time. Fight with me. Arrogant. Let's see if you can still act so arrogant later on." When the spirit grass was placed on the powder-making competition stage, Long Fei could sense it the same way as before. He understood the attributes and the degree of spirit liquid these spirit grass had in his heart, as well as the similarities between them. Blue Panacea, Earth Stage Tier 6 Immortal Pill. It had the miraculous ability to guard spirit essence, channel the mind, and expand the sea of consciousness. Pills were extremely difficult to refine. He couldn't make any mistakes with each step. Even the slightest mistake could lead to failure. Moreover, refining Blue Panacea required more than 30 kinds of spirit grass, and this was the most quantity of spirit grass pellets Long Fei had refined so far. The steps were complicated and complicated. Not only did he have to control the fire, he also couldn't mistake the order in which the spirit grass entered the furnace. It would be extremely difficult to refine the Blue Panacea within a short period of time. The spirit pellet carefully examined the spirit grass, and then revealed a proud smile, and said, "Brat, so long as you kowtow and admit defeat now, I will let you live." He was very proud. He was incomparably proud, because victory was already in his grasp. Long Fei slightly raised both his eyes, looked at the medicine pill as he said with a complacent expression, "Don't worry. Even if you kneel down and admit defeat now, I still won't agree. I just want to see you take off your clothes and walk around the powder-making competition stage." Back then, When the medicine pill had made man Tualuo kneel on the ground and imprint in his mind, Long Fei had wanted to use an even more ruthless method to shatter his reputation, so that he would never be able to get up. Competing ruthlessly? Long Fei was fiercer than anyone. The best way to step on the medicinal pellet was to discredit his reputation and be despised by others. Long Fei could tell from a look in his eyes that his reputation was extremely heavy, and he probably had taken a fancy to the position of the Valley Master of the Medicine Valley. You want to show off here? Then let him kneel on the ground. The medicine pill laughed disdainfully. I gave you a chance, but you do not know how to cherish it. Just wait for me to strip naked and crawl around the powder-making competition stage 10 times. As soon as he finished, the medicinal pills began to circulate. Although he had researched the blue panacea and was very familiar with it, he did not let his guard down. He wanted to refine a high-quality pellet. Other than defeating Long Fei, he also wanted to win against the hearts of the people from the Pill Valley. This competition was extremely important. He had to win. If he won, he would be the leader of the Medicine Valley. Thus, he was more focused than ever, entering a constant state. Long Fei was still checking the attributes of the spirit grass, and when he picked up a spirit grass, his heart shivered. The attribute of this spirit grass. That's not right. It is completely incompatible with the attributes of other spirit grass. Thinking about the medicinal formula that exploded with alchemy just now, Long Fei's gaze turned sinister. Staring at the pill opposite him, he sneered and said, "So sinister. Say it now." If it was said out loud, it would at most be a mistake. Since they wanted his reputation to be disgraced, then this mistake must be magnified. All right. Long Fei's mind turned sinister and thought to himself, I'll let you know what is called an alchemy technique. And then, in his mind, he continued to madly simulate the fusion of spirit grasses. No way. The attribute of a spirit grass is missing. No way. No, this won't do. The attribute of that spirit grass played a very important role. If one did not find a substitute, the blue panacea would not succeed. He had to say it. The pill was extremely poisonous. Even if he were to switch out a crucial spirit grass, it would be impossible to successfully refine it himself under these circumstances. No way. It still won't work. Long Fei's brain was still unceasingly working out calculations, and cold sweat was seeping out of his forehead. Xiao Ying tensed up, looked at Long Fei, who was on the stage, and said, "Young miss, look at young Master Long's forehead, full of sweat. Could it be?" Seeing Long Fei's tightly furrowed brows, Mantaluo was also worried, and she secretly asked, "Did the medicine do something to the spirit grass?" "Ha! The great elder is indeed worthy of being a researcher of the blue panacea. He's almost finished refining it. This kid didn't even move at all, and he even broke out in a cold sweat from fright. Ha ha! Let's see how he will die this time. You still want to play Thrill? This is too thrilling, haha. http:// the drug race disciples ridiculed. The pavilion master looked at Long Fei and thought in his heart, "Brat, what are you thinking about?" Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes opened and lit up as he said excitedly, "I thought of it. Chapter 18_8419/2356908. A bright light flashed. A bright light flashed. The outline of another blue panacea appeared in Long Fei's mind. A prototype that excited him. "All right, it's you." In that moment, Long Fei grabbed onto the flash of light and started to frantically refine it. The first spirit grass threw in. Everyone was shocked. Mantaluo was even more shocked. She took a step forward and said, "Wrong." The head pavilion master frowned. "Put the spirit immortal grass in first. This method, it's impossible to succeed." He only said that in his heart, because each time, Long Fei's alchemy techniques were stranger than the last. Each time, they were stranger than the last, which he had never seen before. Even if he was a heaven-rank alchemy master, there was no guarantee. Do you know alchemy? If a spirit grass is thrown into the main spirit grass without guidance, how can this kind of pill be successful? Even if it succeeds, it would only be a waste powder. What is he doing? This time he's definitely going to lose. Against common sense, it was impossible for him to succeed. Man Toaluo's expression was anxious. She could not hear any of what she was saying, because Long Fei had already entered a state of selflessness and all sounds in the outside world were isolated. Xiao Ying anxiously asked, "Miss, did young Master Long take the wrong spirit grass?" Man Toaluo shook his head and said, "It's not a mistake. It's completely wrong. This is not a method to refine blue panacea at all. Blue panacea are not refined like this. If this goes on, this medicinal pill is bound to fail." Xiao Ying exclaimed and said, "Then aren't we going to lose?" Man Toaluo did not speak. Right now, she didn't even have the strength to speak. The divine wood heart's poison began to spread, and her body slowly stiffened and turned into wood, starting from her heart and eventually turning into rotten wood. However, right now, she wasn't afraid, nor was she in despair. This was because there was a man willing to risk his life and risk it all for her. It was worth it for the rest of her life. Looking at Long Fei, who was on the stage, Man Toaluo secretly thought in his heart, "I'm sorry. I was the one who implicated you." On the powder-making competition stage, Long Fei did as he pleased. He did not care about the surrounding voices, and his entire body became excited. The second spirit grass was thrown into the furnace. Everyone yelled again. He really is a brainless person. He lost. He's definitely lost. He can't concoct such a pill. The third spirit grass was thrown in. The drug race disciples laughed at him again. Fourth, fifth, sixth. Every single time, Long Fei would go against common sense and attract the ridicule and laughter of countless people. Right now, even the Grand Pavilion Master and the elders from the Elders' Pavilion behind him had disdainful and cold smiles on their faces. It's all nonsense. If this works, I'll wring my head off. It was also at this time. The voice of the pill shouted, "All right." A crisp hum sounded out from the pill furnace as a rich spiritual energy gushed out. A sweet smell assaulted the nostrils. Superior blue panacea. One of the cabinet elders' eyes flashed. He looked at the pills on the powder-making competition stage and said excitedly, "I was right, huh?" As soon as his voice faded, the Medicine Valley disciples were all shocked. "Grand Elder, you truly are worthy of being called Grand Elder. Let's see how that kid will jump now. I've definitely won, huh?" After letting out a heavy sigh, the medicinal pills released the pent-up rage in their hearts. Everyone had a smile on their faces. High-grade blue panacea. To be able to reach the peak of the Earth stage. Who could compare to him? Even the Grand Pavilion Master, whose face had always been gloomy, revealed a rare smile. They were sure to win this match. At the same time, Mu Xiaoyao then whispered to the disciple beside him, "Get the brothers ready." Xiao Ying was incomparably anxious and said, "Miss, is the high-ranked blue panacea very high-ranked?" Man Toaluo's brows tightened and said with a low voice, "It's very high, extremely high. Even if it's a cabinet elder, it might not be possible to refine it out." Then, Xiao Ying revealed a worried expression as he looked at Long Fei, who was still refining the pill on the powder-making competition stage, and secretly clenched his fists. She entered a state of combat. The violent, immortal foundation faintly moved. At this moment, he took the pill and slowly walked down the powder-making competition stage. At this moment, he was like a hero returning from triumphant return. Everyone's eyes were on him. The cabinet elders smiled at him, and the disciples and elders treated him with utmost respect. In their hearts, medicinal pills were heroes. He was going to win against Long Fei. The medicinal pill looked at Long Fei, who was on the powder-making competition stage, and revealed a disdainful smile, saying, "Boy, admit defeat. Stop struggling so fearlessly." He had sufficient qualifications to be arrogant as a superior grade blue panacea. This time, he could be considered to be proud of his achievement. The medicinal pill felt extremely proud of itself as it thought to itself, "The position of Valley Master is mine now. Ha ha, ha ha." He was extremely pleased with himself. His expression was one that could not be concealed. On the powder-making competition stage, Long Fei was still continuing, but sweat poured down his forehead like rain, and his mental energy was extremely exhausted. It was as if his entire body had been completely drained. Unwell, the release of the power of Celestial also reached a peak. Suddenly, fourth level, Peerless. Open. Long Fei's body produced a buzzing sound from the impact of the energy. Releasing all 16 times the power of his attributes, Long Fei moved his idea and poured all of his power into it. He roared out loudly, "Done." Rumble. A loud sound echoed out as it shot into the sky. It exploded in the sky like fireworks. At the same time, the pill furnace shattered into pieces. The furnace exploded? No one dared to mock him, because Long Fei had once exploded the furnace to concoct a top-quality pill. This time, it was another explosion. What could it be? Failure? Success? Everyone's gaze was fixated on Long Fei's powder-making competition stage. The great pavilion master's brows sank as he said, "No pills." As soon as he finished, the disciples of drug race, especially the medicinal pills, heaved a sigh of relief and immediately started laughing out loud. "Brat, you've lost. Ha ha. Fight with me? Are you even worthy? Prepare to die." Long Fei's mouth curved up, his two eyes looking at the sky, and laughed coldly. "No pills. Open your dog eyes wide and see clearly." It was also at this time. The loud sound from the sky suddenly came down, like a fine beam of light falling down vertically. Shwa! The power of the sky was tempered and refined. The beam of light was nothing more than the pill that had been blown away by the explosion. It rapidly condensed at this moment, forming in a split second. Everyone was dumbfounded. Is this alchemy? Is this magic? Many of them were scared to the point of peeing their pants. What kind of alchemy technique was this? Pills could fly in the sky. What kind of power was this? The pavilion master's eyes tightened as his body began to tremble uncontrollably. He was incomparably excited as he looked at the completed pill, which was still rotating on top of the pot at the bottom of the pill furnace. His expression changed. God's alchemy. God's alchemy. The legendary God's alchemy. Chapter 28_8419/2356909. A pill that could send the heavens flying. A pill that could send the heavens flying. A type of medicinal pill refined by the heavens. An unparalleled technique. God's alchemy. A technique that only existed in legends. When Long Fei released it now, many people could not understand it, but they all knew in their hearts that this kind of alchemy technique was incredible. There was a sound of thunder being pulled from the dry land. The sky shook tremendously. It fell from the sky vertically. Pill congealing external spiritual pill. Many people were puzzled when they heard about the great pavilion master's God's alchemy. One of the cabinet elders asked in a low voice, "That kind of medicinal method that uses the power of heaven and earth to refine pills? Isn't that a kind of legend?" "Yeah, he can do that." The pavilion master did not believe it and thought that it was just a legend. However, the technique Long Fei had used just now was a technique from the God's alchemy. Seeing everyone's shocked expression, Long Fei was secretly surprised. God's alchemy? Haha, this name isn't bad. It's very domineering and can intimidate people. Long Fei laughed arrogantly, then shouted, "Not bad. You still know the God's alchemy? You have some experience." Since he said this was the God's alchemy, then he would admit it if he went along with the flow and would be able to crush drug race even more. "Your alchemy technique is very powerful. Are you as awesome as lousy?" The pavilion master looked at Long Fei with both eyes and asked seriously, "Who exactly are you?" Long Fei grinned. "Guess. How dare you?" All the halos that he easily obtained were now being attracted by Long Fei. He wanted to let Long Fei know that this was his territory, his home ground. Long Fei immediately retorted, "I was presumptuous. What about it?" The medicinal pill's eyes turned sinister as it shouted, "The alchemy is extremely stable. It's accurate. It's stable. You just got yourself some fancy stuff. What heaven pill technique? I think it's just a monkey trick." "Kid, We are comparing the quality of the pills, their levels, and even more so the quality of the blue Panacea S. Please remember this clearly. This time, they were competing in terms of blue Panacea S. Even if the pellets Long Fei refined were of extremely high quality, they were not blue Panacea S, but lost. The pellet in his hand was a superior grade blue Panacea that had reached the 9th level of the Earth stage. It could be said that there was no longer any existence in the blue Panacea that could surpass it. Many drug race disciples also spoke up. The great clan elder is right. We are competing on blue Panacea S. If you can concoct any other pills, you will lose. What God's alchemy? I think it's just some random technique. Don't waste time. Hurry up and let the pavilion master inspect it. Everyone began to argue. Long Fei slowly walked down from the powder-making competition stage and walked to Man Tuoyuo's side. Looking at her weak appearance, he said softly, "Hold on a little longer." Man Tuoyuo smiled faintly. Her heart was equally shocked. She never thought that Long Fei actually had such high attainments in alchemy. Unbelievable, Xiao Ying said excitedly. Young Master Long, do your best. Long Fei walked to the Grand Pavilion Master's side, handed over the medicinal pellets, and said, "You should be very clear about whether this is a blue Panacea or not." The Pavilion Master was slightly agitated. This was the first time he had seen the God's alchemy, and was also the first time in his life that he had seen a pellet made from God's alchemy. Wang! His sea of consciousness suddenly exploded. His body trembled lightly. After a few seconds, his expression turned to one of incomparable nervousness, as if his life and death were at stake. A full minute later, the Pavilion Master's eyes opened, and a bright light shone from within. He looked at Long Fei excitedly and said, This pellet." He was so excited that he was at a loss for words. Everyone was looking at the Pavilion Master. Long Fei retrieved the medicinal pellet from the Grand Pavilion Master's hand. "Just tell me the result, and don't ask me how I refined it. I don't have the time to explain this to you." Seeing that Long Fei was extremely reluctant to part with the medicinal pellet, the Pavilion Master gritted his teeth and said, "5th level heaven stage. Quality is of the highest quality." As soon as his voice faded, the entire drug race was greatly shaken. The medicinal pill had an even more furious expression as it rushed forward and said, "Impossible, absolutely impossible. The blue Panacea is only an Earth stage spirit Dan, and it is unable to break through to the heaven stage." Grand Pavilion Master, could you have seen wrongly? He had researched the blue Panacea, and he knew it very well. The Pavilion Master said solemnly, "I am not mistaken. It is indeed the heaven stage quality. Furthermore, the blue Panacea he refined is the real blue Panacea. Compared to his, it's simply like a piece of trash." "What? Trash? Grand Pavilion Master, are you blind?" The anger in the pill was intense, and he blurted it out. The surrounding disciples' eyes all darkened. The pill immediately changed its tone. "Pavilion Master, I didn't mean it that way. You carefully examine it again. Don't be fooled by this brat." For now, he did not dare to offend the Pavilion Master. However, in his heart, he was extremely unhappy with the Pavilion Master. The Pavilion Master did not mind and said, "I saw very clearly that we lost." "Impossible." The pill's face sank and stared at Long Fei. "It's impossible for me to lose." The Grand Pavilion Master's face sank as he said, "A loss is a loss. Drug race is not someone who cannot afford to lose." At this moment, Long Fei smiled faintly, walked up, and said, "Since the results have already been announced, then let me say one more thing. Your drug race cannot afford to lose." The Pavilion Master glared at him and said angrily, "What do you mean by that?" Long Fei laughed. He then leaped onto the powder-making competition stage and threw a spirit grass at the Grand Pavilion Master's feet and said, "Isn't it because I can't afford to lose? You actually used a fake spirit grass for me to refine. Isn't that too much to lose? This should be the same as the previous match, right? It's just that the one who was unlucky in the previous match was the medicinal formula. This time it's me. I just want to ask, do you drug race still have any shame?" The last sentence exploded in the Grand Pavilion Master's heart like a killing blow. The Pavilion Master picked up the spirit grass on the ground and tried to sense it. With a furious expression, he shouted, "Who is it? Who took the spirit grass? Go investigate it immediately." Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "Stop investigating. Just use your toes to think, and you'll know who it is." The Pavilion Master asked, "Who is it?" Long Fei moved his finger, pointed to the pill, and said, "Great Clan Elder, you deceived your own junior for the position of Valley Master. This matter has nothing to do with me. I can ignore it, but since you dared to cause trouble for me, then you can't." The pill's expression changed greatly as it angrily said, "Brat, don't slander me. Don't think that I can slander me just because you win. A warrior cannot be killed nor humiliated." "Ha ha!" Long Fei laughed and said, "What a great saying. A warrior can be killed but not humiliated." The prescription stepped forward and said, "Grand Pavilion Master, I will definitely not explode when refining immortal elixir. There must be a problem with the spirit grass." The Pavilion Master's eyes darkened as he shouted, "Medicinal pills, just what is going on?" This was slapping Drug Race in the face, and was a fierce slap. Chapter 38_8419/2356910. The Grand Pavilion Master was already furious. The Grand Pavilion Master was already furious. It didn't matter if he lost the powder-making competition. However, he could not lose face for the Drug Race. Now, not only was he losing face, he was also getting whipped. This caused him to be incomparably furious. Thinking about it now, the knowledge the formula had about immortal elixir could not possibly go up in smoke. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that someone had done something to the spirit grass. The Pavilion Master stared at the pill. The pill cried out, "Pavilion Master, I really don't know anything. I have never left this place before, so how am I supposed to do anything? Besides, there's a certain probability of explosion in alchemy. It's just that we were encountered by Junior Brother Medicine Cube. Grand Pavilion Master, you are wrongly accused." As he spoke, his tears began to flow, as if he had suffered a great grievance. "Nice acting." Long Fei laughed in disdain. The medicinal pill's gaze turned, stared at Long Fei, and asked, "Who exactly are you, and what exactly is your purpose for coming to the Drug Race?" "Grand Pavilion Master, this brat seems to have evil intentions and has ill intentions towards the Drug Race. You want to turn the tables on Xiang Long Fei." However, Long Fei laughed coldly. "I simply do not have good intentions. I do not have good intentions, so what about it? I had thought that the Drug Race was fair and square." So, not waiting for him to finish, the Pavilion Master shouted, "Enough!" It was also at this time Yao Lang was dragged out, and he was escorted up. Yao Changtian said, "Grand Pavilion Master, after examination, it is he who swapped the spirit grass of Junior Brother Long Fei's medicine formula with another one of Long Fei's spirit grass." The Pavilion Master had yet to speak. The pill rushed up and slapped down as he shouted, "Yao Lang, you're amazing. To think that I trusted you so much. To think that you would actually do such a disgraceful thing. You've disappointed me too much. From now on, I don't have a disciple like you." At this time, Mu Xiaoyao's eyes darkened. An elder beside him asked, "Patriarch, what do we do?" Mu Xiaoyao shook his head lightly. Yao Lang was slapped until he was extremely angry. His eyes stared straight at the pill and could not help but look at the Mu Xiaoyao in the distance. At this moment, no one spoke a word for him. "You still dare to look at me like that?" The medicinal pill slapped down once again as it shouted, "You've truly disappointed me." Long Fei laughed blandly. "You are such a good actor. A mere little disciple, without any benefits, would risk his life to exchange for a spirit grass? Even a fool would understand." Long Fei's words were like a bucket of gasoline poured over a fire, and flames soared into the sky with a boom. The expression on the pill became extremely ugly, as though she hated Long Fei to the bones. The Grand Pavilion Master walked to Yao Lang's side and said, "Speak, what exactly happened here?" Yao Lang couldn't help but look at Mu Xiaoyao. Others may not have noticed, but Long Fei saw it very clearly. Gao! Yao Lang clenched his teeth and said, "It's him." Pointing to the medicine, he said, "He was the one who told me to do this." In order to fight for the position of Valley Master and frame the Medicine Elder, he also wanted to win against Long Fei, and even wanted me to change to Spirit Grass. This was all because of him. The body of the medicinal pill went limp as a fierce slap was sent flying over. This slap was going to kill Yao Lang with all his might. Yao Chantian was quick to react. He pushed the pill away and shouted, "You want to kill me to keep my mouth shut?" The pavilion master shouted, "Men, arrest these two men." "Wait." At this time, Long Fei's voice sunk as he walked out and said, "Whether you capture them or not is none of my business, but there are some things that he hasn't done yet." The pavilion master's eyebrows furrowed as he asked, "What is it?" Long Fei grinned and said as if he was joking, "Of course it's about the bet. Take off your clothes and let me crawl around the powder-making competition stage 10 times. The grand pavilion master's expression turned grim again. The faces of the elders were filled with rage. "Kid, don't push your luck. Aren't you being too arrogant?" Everyone was unhappy. However, if they were displeased, Long Fei would be very satisfied. When they were scolding Man Tuo Yuo, why didn't they think of it until now? Long Fei grabbed the medicinal pellet and said coldly, "Are you going to take it off yourself, or should I?" The medicinal pill gritted its teeth as it made a cracking sound. It wanted nothing more than to tear Long Fei to shreds as it said darkly, "Brat, don't be too. Your sister." Without waiting for him to finish, Long Fei slapped his face and then kicked him. 3 days ago, when you made Man Tuo Yuo kneel, wasn't it very arrogant? Monster with the left and monster with the right. Are you crying happily? At that time, you should have already thought of today. If you don't finish these 10 laps, I will kill you. Long Fei's voice suddenly carried a strong, killing intent. The moment Man Tuo Yuo knelt down, the anger in his heart surged unparalleled. Long Fei had slapped the medicinal pellet to the ground and asked the pavilion master for help. "Grand Pavilion Master, save me." The pavilion master ignored him. No one in Drug Race bothered with him, because no one wanted to eat shit with him. And then, the pill ran to Mu Xiaoyao's side. "Master Mu, save me, save me." Mu Xiaoyao kicked him flying, then sneered, "Great clan elder, I am only in charge of being a notary. I did not save anyone." Long Fei grabbed the pill by its collar and shouted, "Crawl." He suddenly threw it out, immediately throwing it to the ground below the powder-making competition stage. Long Fei shouted, "If you lose by 1 round, I'll take your life." The pavilion master looked at Long Fei and clenched his fists tightly. If Long Fei didn't come to the powder-making competition, he came to try sweeping the field. She was taking revenge for Man Tuo Yuo. His hatred for Man Tuo Yuo had never lessened. The grand pavilion master stared at Long Fei and said solemnly, "Are you here for Man Tuo Yuo?" Long Fei laughed. "You guessed right exactly." His mission of escorting Man Tuo Yuo back to the Medicine Valley had not been completed yet, and he would only complete it after entering the valley. The grand pavilion master's gaze turned cold as he solemnly replied, "Good, good, good." The 4th level. Battle Pills. The pavilion master looked at the cabinet elder beside him. The blue-clothed elder immediately said, "Senior fellow apprentice, leave it to me." Man Tuo Yuo's brows tightened, causing him to be shocked. He shouted, "To have the cabinet elders come out to fight, do you think this drug race is shameless?" Cabinet elder. Every one of them were alchemists of heaven stage or higher. They were extremely powerful. There were 8 people in the cabinet, and each one of them was master fan of the alchemy realm. And everyone has his own field. The first 3 stages were pills that helped one to cultivate. The 4th stage was different. Battle pills. After consuming it, he would be able to increase his battle prowess. This kind of pill was also the hardest pill to refine, and it was the kind of pill that every martial artist yearned for day and night. It was just like the steel mixture that Long Fei had refined in the South Horizon region. It was just that the steel mixture S in a mortal domain were already useless. However, Long Fei had a crazy idea. With a move of the idea, he entered the death-calling god seal, the corners of his mouth slightly curled up as he laughed. It's your turn to go up on stage. Chapter 4. Thank you for your personal injury. I have something urgent to do in the morning. There's an update today, and it will be delivered tonight. 8_8419/2356911. The death-calling God Seal brought out over 1,000 war emperor rankers from the underworld. The death-calling God Seal brought out over 1,000 war emperor rankers from the underworld. Their cultivations might not be much in a mortal domain. However, the most important point was that they were spirit bodies. This alone was enough to crush everything. Mantaluo took a step forward and said respectfully, "Pavilion Master, can we withdraw?" Suddenly, when Mantaluo stood out, even he was a little unable to react. Many of the drug race disciples were also stunned. Mantaluo was very clear in his heart. Battle pills was not an ordinary medicine. This kind of medicine was the hardest to refine out of the series of pills. Furthermore, Long Fei did not know how to refine battle pills. However, although he was the second in command of the cabinet elders, Yao Puti was different. Half of the battle pills in the entire Medicine Valley had been researched by him, so no one was his match in refining the battle pills in the Medicine Valley. The Pavilion Master stared coldly at Mantaluo, sneered, and said, "What? Are you scared?" Mantaluo's face tensed up and said, "I'm afraid. Can I withdraw?" She admitted that she was afraid. However, without waiting for her to finish, the Pavilion Master's gaze darkened as he disdainfully said, "No. You want to withdraw from the competition just because of my drug race? Mantaluo, all of this was because of you. Do you think I would let you go? Don't even think about it. I watched as you died before me." His hatred for Mantaluo had already sunk deep into the marrow of his bones. His son, his grandson, had all died because of her, and he would definitely not let Mantaluo off easily. Mantaluo's face tensed up. Long Fei jumped down from the powder-making competition stage, stood in front of Mantaluo, and said to the Pavilion Master, "Don't worry, even if you die, she won't die." Long Fei held Mantaluo's hand tightly. The Pavilion Master sneered and said, "Long Fei, let's begin." Long Fei turned around and looked at Mantaluo and said faintly, "Don't worry, I will definitely win. I will definitely give each one of those people who mock you a slap and trample these old fellows beneath my feet." His voice was very arrogant. Everyone heard that the disciples of the drug race were gnashing their teeth in hatred against Long Fei. The expression on the face of the Pavilion Master also became exceptionally ugly. Siaputi had already walked up to the powder-making competition stage, looked at Long Fei, and said, "Brat, let the stage begin." Long Fei slowly walked to the powder-making competition stage. The idea said to the Yin Huang ancestor, "Ancestor, I want to refine a ghost pellet. I want to use the yellow springs to summon the ghosts in the imprint." Yin Huang ancestor replied, "No problem." "All right." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Then I'll begin." This time, Long Fei took the lead. After quickly understanding the spirit grass, his movements became exceptionally quick. At the same time, the idea connected to the Yellow Springs summoning seal and said, "Brothers, I need your help." "Fuck, boss, you finally thought of us." "Ha! Is it finally our turn to go on stage?" "Boss, what do you think we should do?" When they were at the Heavens sect, they were already eager to give it a try, but Long Fei did not let them out. He had been waiting, and now he finally had the chance. Long Fei said, "I need the strongest person. Who has the strongest cultivation?" "Me. I. A level 4 warlord and the strongest here." An old man in his 60s walked out. Long Fei said, "All right, in a while, I will release your soul and assimilate it into the pill. You must endure a little pain. I will swiftly refine it." "No problem." The old man didn't say anything else. 3 minutes later, Long Fei finished everything perfectly and almost fused the ghost into the pill. He shouted in his heart, "Ancestor!" Buzz! A loud sound echoed out. A strand of soul within the death-calling God Seal was wrapped by a strand of energy and assimilated into the medicinal pellet. Long Fei swiftly refined and controlled its soul. 10 seconds later. Done. Long Fei shouted, and a clear sound came out from the pill furnace. Refinery completed. Just like that. Less than 5 minutes? Is he refining a battle pills? Is battle pills that easy to refine? Many people were still suspicious because the battle pills was very difficult to refine. The great pavilion master frowned. It seems like there's nothing, this battle pills. What kind of power can it possibly have? He was also speaking here. A light sound rang out from Yao Pudi's side as well. He let out a loud shout. Done. The pills he refined were completely different. Yao Pudi said indifferently. The 5th level of the heaven-ranked Spirit Dan is the Little Burst Immortal Pill. It can help cultivators below the arrogant immortal state raise their power of celestial by 1 level, and the power of the 3rd level can increase the absorption of the world's spirit energy by 3 times. High-grade quality. As soon as he finished, before the people from Drug Race could react, Mu Xiaoyao's face darkened and the muscles at the corner of his eyes began to twitch. Drug Race definitely cannot stay. They were all crazy. Drug Race and the other geniuses from the alchemy, all of them were simply madmen. If even this kind of battle pills could be refined, once they recovered their vitality, then there would no longer be a place for the Mu family. Yao Pudi walked down slowly and placed the pill in the hands of the pavilion master. The pavilion master smiled in satisfaction and said, "It's just as he said, but the quality should be one of the best of the best. It's of the highest quality." "All right, great." The disciples of Drug Race cheered. "This should be fine, right? You can win now, right? Brat, it's your turn. Why are you still bringing along the powder-making competition stage? Why aren't you coming down?" Long Fei slowly walked down and passed the pill to the pavilion master. The Grand Pavilion Master's face darkened as he sensed the presence of the other party. When everyone saw his expression change, their relaxed hearts rose to their throats, their hearts tensed up. Damn, could it be another pill of the highest quality? The corners of the Great Pavilion Master's mouth drew back, revealing a sneer. A useless pill. As soon as he finished, the entire Drug Race was cheering, as if they were retaliating from the dead, winning a great battle. A useless pill. Ha ha, I knew it. How can a battle pills be refined by anyone? Brat, go home and drink your milk. He lost, cripple his hand. The anger that was suppressing their hearts finally exploded out, and everyone's faces were filled with excitement. The same went for the face of the pavilion master. He had examined it several times, and the results were always the same. It was a waste powder. Long Fei looked around at the mocking faces and smiled slightly. Then he looked at the pavilion master and said, "A useless pill? Are you sure?" "Kid, Grand Pavilion Master is born with the ability to sense the quality of medicinal pills. Do you doubt him?" The pavilion master smiled and said, "I can guarantee with my life that this is a useless pill. Equals semi/floating life plus." He had never made a mistake. The immortal foundation he had fused with was the immortal foundation for sensing pills. How could there be a mistake? The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and he asked, "What if it wasn't a useless pill?" Chapter 5. There are still updates today. I still owe you 2 chapters, but I'll try my best to make it up to you today. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356912. The pavilion master smiled coldly in glee. The pavilion master smiled coldly in glee. He checked it 3 times, and there was no mistake. Moreover, the immortal foundation he had fused with was the root of the sensing pill. He had examined countless pills in his life and had never made a mistake before. There was no way that he would make a mistake this time. Long Fei asked again, "If it wasn't a useless pill, what would you do?" The pavilion master said, "If it's not a useless pill, you can do as you wish." Long Fei laughed and said, "These words were said by you. I do not want anything to do with you. I just want you to bow and apologize to Man to all you owe, in front of everyone, and say sorry." The face of the pavilion master secretly changed. He stared at Long Fei and then at Man to all you owe. This was already a foregone conclusion. He would not be wrong. In the face of Long Fei's arrogance and power, the Grand Pavilion Master's gaze tensed up as he shouted, "Good! But if you lose, I want you to tell me the method to cultivate the gods' alchemy's alchemy." This was what he wanted. Long Fei laughed. "Sure." And then, Long Fei looked at the disciples of the drug race who still had cold smiles on their faces and said softly, "This pill is called Ghost Pellet, and a pellet can summon out a spirit to fight for it. The strength of a ghost is decided by its alchemy users. Once swallowed, you can see a ghost by your side. It can fight, explore secret realms, spy on enemies, and do anything that others can't do. I would like to ask, does this count as a battle pills?" The Grand Pavilion Master laughed. "If it's really like you said, then it's naturally battle pills. But, Ghost Dan, Brat, I've never heard of this sort of pill before. Could it be that you can refine a little ghost from the underworld?" As soon as his voice faded, "Ha! Ha!" the audience burst into laughter. This was simply impossible. Long Fei smiled faintly, stared at the Pavilion Master, and said, "I can refine all the little imps in the underworld out. Just now, the blue panacea you saw was refined using the god's alchemy. Now, this ghost pellet is refined using the ghost spirit method." He had heard of the god's alchemy, but he had never heard of the method of using the ghost spirit art. Long Fei looked at the Grand Pavilion Master, who had sunk into deep thought, and laughed disdainfully. "You haven't heard of it, right? It is very normal for a mere drug race to not have heard of it." Long Fei had also just heard about it. He said so himself. However, if he wanted to act tough, then he had to act tough. Long Fei said, "Is it like what I said? Once you consume the pellet, you will know that only the person who consumes it and its alchemy can see the body of the ghost, so other people wouldn't be able to see it even if they were to slap him. There can't be such a pill in the world." The Pavilion Master did not believe him at all, but he still swallowed the pill Long Fei refined. The pill was melting crazily in his mouth. And then, a powerful force charged out from his body, and a ghost landed next to him. It respectfully asked, "Master, what instructions do you have?" The Pavilion Master's face fell as he fell to the ground in fright. He stared at the air with a dumbstruck expression and pointed at him. "Who are you? Who exactly are you?" At this time, all of the drug race disciples were stunned. "Grand Pavilion Master, what's wrong? What's the situation? Kid, what exactly did you feed the Grand Pavilion Master?" Long Fei smiled faintly. "Great Pavilion Master, is what I said true? If you don't believe me, as alchemy, I can control him as well." Long Fei smiled slightly, and then the idea moved and said, "Who laughed at me just now?" As soon as he finished, "Pa, pa, pa," a series of loud slapping sounds could be heard. For some inexplicable reason, the slapping sound was so hard to react to that one strike that no one knew what had happened. Mu Xiaoyao also suddenly stood up. Long Fei's eyes revealed a faint smile. He looked at Mu Xiaoyao and said, "Were you smiling just now as well?" Mu Xiaoyao frowned and shouted, "Brat, you dare?" Long Fei sneered, "Why would I not dare? Pa." The 5-finger marks could clearly be seen as his face sank and blood hung from the corner of his mouth. The disciples of the Mu family rushed forward in a flash. Long Fei laughed. "If you have the guts, try touching me. Do you believe that I won't cripple your entire second brother? Come on, let's give it a try." Those disciples of the Mu family were stunned. Mu Xiaoyao's face became extremely ugly as he stared at Long Fei. His mind started to work frantically, and then he laughed out loud and said, "Young Master Long, we do not have any malice towards you. This person could not be offended." However, Long Fei did not think that way. He looked at the wound on Mu Xiaoyao's head and muttered, 80,000 HP, not a small number. It seems to be a pretty good boss. It's just a pity. If ghosts can raise their levels and cultivate and make breakthroughs, that would be great. Then I would have an undead legion. Yan Huang Ancestor laughed. "This is not a big problem. As long as you are willing, I have a way to make them stronger in cultivation." Long Fei's heart trembled as he asked, "Ancestor, are you speaking the truth?" Yan Huang Ancestor, "Of course it's true, but your 2 immortal roots are—" "Take it." Long Fei didn't even think before he replied immediately. As long as you can bring this undead legion back, I'll give you anything you want. Haha. Yin Huang ancestor immediately put the 2 immortal roots into his mouth and started chewing on it. He said happily, "Immortal roots are immortal roots. Their power is strong, ah. So cool, so cool." Haha. Don't worry. I'll definitely help you with what you told me. Yin Huang ancestor looked satisfied and said, "However, 2 immortal roots is still not enough. I would like a few more." Long Fei, your sister. Even if he was unhappy, since the ancestor said so, he would definitely do it. Undead Legion. Too excited. Long Fei did not even look at Mu Xiaoyao, but instead walked in front of the Pavilion Master and said, "Pavilion Master, who won the 4th match?" The Grand Pavilion Master's gaze was fixated on Long Fei, and instead of announcing the results, he asked, "Kid, who exactly are you?" Long Fei smiled slightly. "What do you think?" The Great Pavilion Master's eyebrows tightened, and he shouted, "4th match, you win. Last match, let me." "Wait." Long Fei's voice was startled. "It's already this late?" "Apologize to me." Man Taoyuo swiftly walked up and said, "Young Master Long, forget it." Long Fei said, "What do you mean forget it? I can't forget it. What does he count as when he treated you like that just now? Isn't the Great Pavilion Master of the drug race outstanding? You have to admit that you lost. Can't afford to lose?" Long Fei would never let him off. The Pavilion Master apologized, and he had a bow. Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health. Strongest upgrade system. Isn't this humiliating the entire drug race? Right? Long Fei wanted to humiliate the entire drug race. Wanted to overturn the entire drug race. Chapter 6, Supplementary Chapter. Still lacking 1 chapter. It will be updated today. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356913. If you want his men to kneel, then you have to pay the price. If you want his men to kneel, then you have to pay the price. Long Quangtian kneeled to the King Yama, and the King Yama died. Lu Luoxi kneeled down, and Hong Tianjun fell down. When Man Tuoyuo kneeled, Long Fei wanted to humiliate the entire drug race, to overturn them. Long Fei's voice sank, and he said, "Bow, apologize." Extremely domineering and arrogant. The head of the Pavilion Master was so angry that smoke was coming out his head. His entire body seemed as if it was about to erupt with flames. He was incomparably furious. When had he ever been humiliated like this? However, he couldn't afford to lose his temper. Because he'd lost. He was convinced of his defeat, and he couldn't come up with any excuses. Yao Puti said, "I lost the match. I apologize." "You? I'm not qualified." Long Fei sneered and stared at the Pavilion Master. "Apologize." "All right." The Pavilion Master clenched his teeth and said, "I apologize." Looking at Man Tuoyuo's resentful eyes, he bowed and said, "I admit defeat if I lost. I'm sorry." A loud sound was heard. The entire audience was in an uproar. All of the drug race disciples were fuming with anger. They also hated Long Fei to the bones, and the Pavilion Master was acting on behalf of the drug race. Man Tuoyuo's heart also sank. He wanted to reject, but instead, the look in the Pavilion Master's eyes told her that even if she rejected, it would be useless. The Pavilion Master stood up and stared at Man Tuoyuo. "I won't give you the almighty anti-poison pill, and I won't lose in the 5th match either. I want you 3 to be unable to leave this Medicine Valley." Boom! A loud sound echoed out. A powerful force burst forth from the Grand Pavilion Master's body, and his eyes were bloodshot. He was truly infuriated and infuriated. In his 80 years of life, he had never been forced to such an extent. Today, he definitely had to teach Long Fei a lesson. No matter who he was, no matter what background he had, he would definitely teach Long Fei a good lesson. Long Fei grinned from ear to ear and said, "This is only the beginning. There's still more. You should just endure it." And then, Long Fei walked to Man Tuoyuo's side, looked at the weak in her, and said, "You don't need to care about anything. Just leave everything to me. Xiaoying, take good care of the young miss. At the same time, take precautions against Mu Xiaoyao." Long Fei warned once again, and the spirit demon in the spirit's pill rushed into the forest. Just as Long Fei had expected, all of the elite disciples of the Mu family were in Herb Mountain, numbering 600. The purpose of such a huge battle formation was not only for them, but also for the drug race. The Mu family is going to annihilate the drug race. I don't care who kills who, but I'm definitely going to beat the boss Mu Xiaoyao. Long Fei laughed excitedly in his heart. He must expose the heart of ancient fairy tree. He could already feel the desire of the dragon Saluress. Mu Xiaoyao would definitely beat him. The Grand Pavilion Master walked up to the powder-making competition stage and lightly said, "You are free to choose the fifth match. However, the spirit grass has prepared it. The pill furnace has prepared it." Xiao Ying said loudly. "Isn't this too unfair? Were we going to recruit spirit grass at this time?" The Pavilion Master disdainfully said, "That is your own matter. Isn't he strong? Wasn't he arrogant? If he has the guts, then let him use the air to refine some supreme grade spirit pellets." This was his territory. He was in charge of the rules of the Medicine Valley. In order to refine high-level pellets, there must be a lot of high-level spirit grass and high-level furnaces as well. Only then would the success rate be higher. Equipment was a major factor. At this moment, drink, drink, drink. The upper half of the 8 sturdy disciples of the drug race were heavily lifting a gigantic cauldron. The entire body of the cauldron was engraved with the tattoo of a dragon. Green dragon medicine tripod, the holy artifact that were guarding one of the medicine valleys. Long Fei looked at it and was unable to open his eyes. Yin Huang ancestor also said excitedly, "Good stuff." Boom! Roar! The dark dragon god inside the dragon Salur roared. Even he was excited? That's not right. Long Fei had a special feeling when he looked at the green dragon medicine tripod, as if this was something left behind by the ancestors of their long family. Green dragon medicine tripod. The Grand Pavilion Master is truly angry. He's definitely going to lose this time. Grand Pavilion Master is a master of the 8th level of the Heaven Stage alchemy. If he makes another breakthrough, he will become a master of immortal pills. In the entire immortal domain, there are only a few people who can surpass him. With the Grand Pavilion Master making his move, this kid will definitely not stand a chance. Just you wait, watch how this brat dies. The drug race disciples became excited. The Grand Pavilion Master was too strong. He was the strongest alchemy master in the entire drug race. 8th level of the Heaven Stage. After breaking through 2 more realms, one would be able to step into the realm of an immortal pill master. At this moment, Mu Xiaoyao said in a low voice, "Pass my orders down. Let the brothers prepare. Remember, the green dragon medicine tripod must be snatched over for me. Green dragon medicine tripod, sacred artifact of alchemy. Who doesn't want it? With this kind of sacred object alchemy, even an idiot would be able to refine high-grade pellets." Legend. The Medicine Valley S had relied on their green dragon medicine tripod to rise in power and extend their existence for tens of thousands of years. One of the disciples lightly said, "Disciple will go and arrange it." In another place, within the Medicine Valley, Yao Changtian summoned all of his trusted aides, disciples, and the disciples of the War Hall from the Medicine Valley and said in a heavy voice, "I know that you all don't believe me, but today is the moment of life and death for the drug race. Whether or not you all can protect the drug race is up to you." They had no choice but to take this life and death situation seriously. Moreover, Yao Changtian had been good to them in the past. "Valley Master, we will listen to your commands at any time." The green dragon medicine tripod was carried up to the powder-making competition stage, and at this time, a dozen disciples were holding onto a spirit grass. These spirit grass were all in their mature stages and had not been harvested. The freshest spirit grass possessed the densest amount of spirit energy. It was also the best time for the alchemy. At this time, even Man Tuoyuo could not help but say, "Isn't this a little too unfair?" "Fair? Humph!" The Pavilion Master sneered. "Is there a time for fairness in this world? The tempting immortal roots you possess made the disciples of the Medicine Valley have a rather beastly personality to the point of causing them to explode. Is that fair? Why didn't you say it was fair at that time? Mantoaluo's gaze tightened and her body started to tremble lightly. She would never want to recall that scene again, and every time she thought about it, she would tremble in fear. Xiao Ying said angrily, "So many years have passed. You probably still don't know if that beast-like grandson of yours didn't want to rape Miss. Mantoaluo's body trembled nonstop and said, "Stop it." Xiao Ying's face sunk. Seeing Mantoaluo's frightened look, she couldn't help but cry. So many years had passed. Everyone thought that Mantoaluo was a monster, a demon, and a fiend, but no one ever thought of why she would do that. The pavilion master's eyes were filled with anger as he said, "Don't even think of slandering me. You monster! Today, I shall see you die in front of me." Long Fei coldly snorted and said, "What are you being cocky for? Let's begin. I can't wait any longer." Chapter 7. He had finished repaying all the chapters he owed. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356914. Humph! Humph! The Grand Pavilion Master's gaze tensed up as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you think that being able to refine some ultimate pill is already very powerful? You're too arrogant. You don't know how to restrain yourself. This isn't the way of the alchemy. Today I will let you know what an alchemy technique is." As soon as he finished, the top half of the Grand Pavilion Master's clothes suddenly exploded, revealing muscles that looked like they were made of diamond bones. Every muscle of his was brimming with explosive power. Everyone's expression tensed and turned aghast. A pavilion master in his 80s actually had such a tyrannical body. It had to be said that he was very intrepid. Mu Xiaoyao's face also tensed up. Mantoaluo looked at Long Fei, who was on the powder-making competition stage, and reminded him, "Grand Pavilion Master is using the alchemy of violence. The pellets he refined are filled with terrifying explosive power if you want to beat him." Mantoaluo's heart tensed up. Even spirit powder would probably not be able to win. The level of spirit powder S was too low. If you want to compare it to the violent series of pellets given by the Pavilion Master, it would still be lacking a lot, unless you can break through another level on the basis of the spirit powder. It was too difficult. It was impossible to succeed. Moreover, Long Fei had not grasped the essence of spirit powder yet, but refining spirit powder not only relied on talent and alchemy, but also that kind of comprehension towards spirit powder. She had natural immortal herbs and spiritual roots, so she had a natural advantage over any pill. However, it took her a whole 10 years to figure it out, and it was just a rudiment. Could Long Fei succeed? It was simply impossible. Mantoaluo was worried. The Grand Pavilion Master's current fury was roiling. If Long Fei lost, the consequences would definitely be very tragic. Buzz! A loud explosion resounded. The Pavilion Master grabbed with one hand, and the green dragon medicine tripod was immediately lifted up with the other. The 8 burly men barely managed to lift it, but he had raised it with one hand. Just this power alone was extremely formidable, and that was not all. Boom! From the depths of the pubes came a beast-like roar. When the power of Celestial came out, the pill fire exploded out with a loud bang. At this time, the green dragon tripod slowly started to change. Roar! Roar! A few green dragon roars sounded from within the pill furnace. Dragon roar! The world shook. The entire sky above the valley resounded with a thunderous resonance, causing everyone's heart to tremble. Sacred artifact, green dragon tripod. This was indeed extraordinary. Long Fei looked at it until his eyes lit up. Good stuff. I like it. Then, what I like is mine. Long Fei laughed excitedly. The power that the green dragon tripod had exploded with was extremely shocking. Long Fei revealed an excited expression. The thing he had his eyes on was his. He had to think of a way to get it no matter what. Mu Xiaoyao's heart also started to boil. The dragon's roar resonates with us. This is the power of the sacred object green dragon tripod. Huh? This is how the drug race rose to power. Soon, it will be my Mu family's property. Huh? He was just as excited as Long Fei. The green dragon tripod's eyes shone with greed. Spirit grass, come. He opened his palm and made a slashing motion in the air. The essence of a spirit grass was thrown into the green dragon tripod by the pavilion master. It was too fast. Moreover, it could extract the most spirit liquid, which was the strongest part of the green dragon tripod. A good alchemy furnace could raise the quality of the medicinal pellets, but this green dragon tripod could raise the level of the medicinal pellets. Everyone was watching the grand pavilion master's performance. The scene was also extremely shocking. This was the first time Long Fei had seen violent alchemy. It was similarly incomparably shocking for him, and he also felt a strong pressure in his heart. Long Fei let out a light breath as he quickly calmed down, not affected by the surrounding environment. In his world, he was the only one. Buzz! Long Fei's eyes slightly opened. The idea moved and shouted, "Magic box!" Boom! A loud sound came out from Long Fei's side. A black box filled with all kinds of runes quietly floated beside Long Fei, releasing an extremely dense demonic qi. Not even the Yin Huang ancestor could see through the God's Devil ancient case. Where did it come from? What is its strongest use? No one knew, not even his previous owner, the heavenly demon. The aura of Long Fei's body and the God's Devil ancient case were linked together and ignited at the same time. Young Master Long, it's starting. Xiaoying was excited. Man Tuoyuo's gaze turned cold as he said, "Demonic qi. Could it be that he wants to refine magic pill?" The drug race disciples were all shocked. They were stunned by the magic box summoned by Long Fei. Magic pill? Could he be someone from the dark domain? Does he want to use magic pill to fight against the great pavilion master's violent series of pills? This kid's identity is really different. If it weren't for Hall of Immortals' orders to widely accept disciples and search for the Devil Slayer, just by refining his magic pill, he would have been sentenced to death. Magic pill. Only the demons of the dark domain knew how to refine them. Although it was similar to the pills in Immortal Domain, there was still a huge difference. Moreover, half a year ago, Immortal Domain was still not allowed to refine magic pill. But now that the Demon Owl had risen again, the Heavenly S wanted to combine their powers to fight against the giant demons, which would allow demon disciples to enter the Immortal Domain. So the refining of magic pill was naturally allowed as well. Open. As soon as Long Fei finished speaking, the box opened and waves of blood poured out. Long Fei moved and took out a spirit grass from the box. Metal element spirit grass. The magic panacea furnace moved and started to operate schwa. The spirit grass was thrown into the furnace. The crazed crafting began. Metal-type spirit grass? Man Toaluo frowned slightly. Half a minute later, the wood attribute spirit grass entered the pill furnace. In water attribution, fire-type and earth-type spirit grass were thrown inside. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth? 5 elemental spirit grass? What does he want to do? Because she was in too much of a hurry, it caused her to spit out a mouthful of black blood that attacked her heart. The acute poison in her divine wood heart began to spread crazily, and she ignored it as she said, "Long Fei, no, I really can't." She knew what kind of pill Long Fei was going to refine. He wanted to refine the 5-element spirit powder. This kind of pellet was definitely not a success. Moreover, it would have a strong 5-element anaphasic force. If one was not careful, one would suffer from heavy injuries and one might not be able to obtain alchemy in their entire lifetime. Xiaoying supported Man Tuoyuo and said, "Miss, what's wrong? Wasn't young Master Long fine? Why not?" Man Tuoyuo said, "He wants to refine the 5-element spirit powder. This is impossible. No one has been able to link the 5 elements together, crush them with their rings, and restrain them with their rings. No one has been able to do that. Table of contents, if we can't do this, the 5-element spirit powder can't succeed." She had tried to use 2 of the 5 elemental spirit grasses, but the result was that she had been lying in bed for a whole month. If not for her natural immortal grass and immortal foundation, she would not be able to use her alchemy. The power of the 5 elements was stronger. Man Toaluo's tears were flowing out. Don't continue, you will die. The first chapter, thank you, 100 treasures gold for your 50-month ticket strike. Thank you. 8_8419/2356915. If he messed up, he would really die. If he messed up, he would really die. Moreover, Man Toaluo could see very clearly that Long Fei's 5-element spirit grass was of extremely high quality. Basically, all of them were heaven-ranked spirit grass, and the energy of the 5 elements within these spirit grass were even thicker. If he didn't control it properly, the 5 elements would definitely suffer a backlash. Long Fei did not hear it at all. Right now, he was the only person in this world. He could not hear any sounds or laughter from the outside. This was a sort of boundary. At this moment, Wong, roar, a soft sound came out from the green dragon tripod. Following that, the green dragon roared again. Endless green dragon energy flowed into the pill, instantly raising its grade. At the same time, the pavilion master shouted, "Done!" Boom! The green dragon tripod descended from the sky, and the entire powder-making competition stage shook. The pills still crawling around the powder-making competition stage fell to the ground with a pale face. A spiritual fragrance wafted in all directions, assaulting the nostrils of everyone present. Just a slight breath of it was enough to make them feel incomparably excited. Morale had risen dramatically. The pavilion master raised his eyes and looked at Long Fei. He then entered a state of meditation and frowned at the box beside him. Demon? Humph. Do they look like they're from the dark demon area? I never thought that this man Toaluo would actually collude with the demons. But, yeah, she's a monster herself. The pavilion master's face was filled with disdain. Picking up the green dragon tripod as pellets, he laughed coldly and said, "Even if you were a devil alchemy genius, you still won't be my match. Kid, you have lost this match." And then there was Long Fei. After all of the spirit grass were thrown in, Long Fei frowned, showing extreme caution. The power of the 5 elements exceeded his expectations and was extremely difficult to control. Moreover, if they were allowed to maintain an absolute balance, even the slightest mistake would be a failure. The further he went, the more difficult it became. However, this was still within the range that Long Fei could control. However, in order for these 5-element spirit liquid to possess the power of seal, just fusing them together was not enough, and he would need to possess another power. The power of seal. Huff, huff. Long Fei exhaled a deep breath and suddenly shouted in his heart, "4th level, peerless, open for me." Buzz. 16 folds of elemental energy exploded in his body, causing him to tremble violently. Power formed a resonance. Long Fei also followed and shouted, "Secret skill. Sealing open." A ray of seal's energy was poured into the magic panacea furnace, and at the same time, Long Fei roared in his heart without giving these 5 types of power a chance to retaliate. Celestial Soul Root. The power of the spirit grass. Open it for me. Other than the 9 bronze men who had fused with the God Soul herb and formed the God Soul herb, Long Fei also possessed the God Soul herb's increasing power towards all the auxiliary method. It was never used. It was all for now. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The sound of the buzzing immortal foundation power from Long Fei's body wildly rushed into the magic panacea furnace and firmly suppressed the berserking power of the 5 elements. "Let me handle it." Long Fei roared out and released all of the power of celestial value from his body. A final crushing force. Crack, crack, crack. The magic panacea furnace could not withstand the pressure and started to crack, as if a layer of ice had cracked. Crap, the furnace is about to explode. Man Toaluo's face was deathly pale, and she started to worry even more. Right now, she was no longer concerned about winning or surviving. She was only worried about Long Fei. Xiaoying clenched his fists tightly. He was extremely nervous. He did not even dare to breathe loudly. The drug race disciples laughed excitedly. The furnace is really going to explode this time. Ha ha! Kid, you have lost for sure. Competing with the great pavilion master in alchemy, you're courting death. Ha! Countless disciples began to laugh complacently. Seeing the magic panacea furnace constantly exploding, they couldn't help but get excited. If the pellet was to be formed, there would only be one result of the furnace exploding: failure. The energy in the furnace was too strong. The magic panacea furnace could not take it. Is he going to fail? Is he going to fail? Is he really going to fail? Long Fei's eyes were like King Kong. He roared out loudly, "I will never fail." Ah! He bellowed. Long Fei poured a drop of blood essence into the god's devil ancient case, and immediately, huge waves that were tens of thousands of meters tall were formed within the god's devil ancient case. In less than half a second, Long Fei took out the blood essence and dripped it into the pill furnace. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. The pill furnace hummed loudly. The dragon salure among the space ring hummed and vibrated, producing wave after wave of loud sounds. Even stranger, the green dragon tripod was also trembling nonstop. The green dragon pattern on the cauldron seemed to be moving as if it wanted to charge out. The resonance of a dragon. What blood vein S was in Long Fei's body? There were no blood vein S. There were no dragon spirit blood S to speak of, but his blood vein, on the other hand, could cause a resonance in the dark dragon god, but could also cause a resonance from the azure dragon on top of the green dragon medicine tripod. At this moment, everyone was stunned by the resonating roars of the dragons. Long Fei's blood essence exploded within the pill. Ning was stunned. A crack, exploding forth, a loud sound was heard, and the magic panacea furnace burst out. A crimson-red pellet laid quietly at the bottom of the magic panacea furnace. It had no chi, no spiritual energy, no power of the five elements, and it did not release anything. Not a bit. It was as if this pill wasn't a pill at all. However, it was more special than any pill. Long Fei shouted excitedly, "Success!" The entire audience was stunned. Man Toaluo's heart loosened, and her body couldn't even hold on. If not for Xiao Ying's support, she would have been paralyzed sitting on the ground. Xiao Ying asked gently, "Miss, why is it that the pills refined by young Master Long did not emit the slightest fragrance? As if it wasn't a medicinal pill." This was the most basic truth. Even those who didn't understand alchemy would know. The stronger the fragrance, the higher the grade of the pill. Man Toaluo frowned and shook his head. "I don't know either, but it's good that he's fine." As long as Long Fei was not injured, the rest were no longer important. At the moment the magic panacea furnace cracked, her heart was so nervous she could die. Ha ha! A useless pill. It's definitely a useless pill. There's not even a hint of a spiritual fragrance coming from it. It's definitely a useless pill. Kid, you've lost. We won. Ha! Drug Race has never lost when we enter the valley, so it's time to cripple him. The people of Drug Race cheered. They all understood the simplest principle of pills. Not even the slightest scent of spirit incense was emitted, which was to say that this pill was a failure. Carrot half, /float asterisk life. All 3-year-olds in the Medicine Valley knew this logic. The pavilion master also revealed a complacent smile. Looking at Long Fei on the powder-making competition stage, he said, "You've lost." The corner of Long Fei's mouth quirked as he wildly laughed loudly. "Ha ha! You don't even know the basics of pills, and you still say that I've lost? Grand Pavilion Master, you're too weak." Chapter 28_/8419/2356916. He pointed at the pavilion master's nose and cursed. "You're a tough one." He pointed at the pavilion master's nose and cursed. "You're a tough one. Grand Pavilion Master. Drug Race Jizun. A heaven-ranked level 8 alchemy master. Other than the extremely rare immortal pill masters, he was basically one of the top existences in the entire Sky Martial continent. A weakling? Moreover, Long Fei pointed at his nose and cursed at him, saying that he did not even know the basics of alchemy. This was not only an insult. This was a slap to his face, a slap to his dignity. The entire drug race was raging. It was incomparably terrifying. Kid, insulting the Grand Pavilion Master, you're tired of living. Too savage. You dare to say such things about the Grand Pavilion Master's person. Who do you think you are? They were all filled with incomparable rage. Long Fei did not care about them at all. He dropped down from the powder-making competition stage with the pill in his hand, walked in front of the Pavilion Master, smiled, and said, "Great Pavilion Master, since you think you have one, why don't you add some extra stakes?" Long Fei had really displeased him and shouted, "What more do you want to gamble on?" "Very simple. You won, take my life," Long Fei said casually. He was betting his life on it. The Pavilion Master glared at him. "Fine, no matter what you want, I'll bet with you. I will definitely kill you with my own hands." He was so angry that it seemed as if flames were about to burst out of his head. He could not hold it in any longer. Long Fei was too arrogant. Long Fei laughed. "This is an additional bet. What I want is also very simple. If I win, I want the green dragon tripod." Brat, you are too presumptuous. The green dragon medicine tripod is a sacred object of our drug race. How can your little life be exchanged for it? You're right. Your cheap life is not worth it at all. Green dragon tripod, the sacred object of the drug race, cannot be desecrated. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "Pavilion Master, do you dare to gamble?" "You don't dare? What a monster, huh?" Long Fei purposely angered the Pavilion Master, who was already incomparably angry, so when he was provoked by Long Fei in such a way, he could not help but cry out. The Pavilion Master bellowed, "Fine, I will use the green dragon tripod to gamble with you. I will definitely take your dog life." If alchemy were to enter the valley and defeat Long Fei, according to the rules, it would at most cripple one of Long Fei's hand or one of his legs. This was not enough to calm the anger in his heart. Thus, he wanted Long Fei's life. Mantaoyuo also became nervous and said, "Long Fei." Xiaoying became excited and said, "Young Master Long is too handsome to actually dare to be so arrogant in front of the Pavilion Master. Ha ha ha. Is there anyone more arrogant than him in the world?" Mu Xiaoyao's mouth curved into a proud smile, and he thought to himself, "Brat, I suddenly hope that you can win. You don't have the slightest bit of power of celestial in your body. If the green dragon tripod is in your hands, it would be as easy as pie for me to snatch it away." Mu Xiaoyao had always been paying attention to Long Fei's power of celestial. During the process of refining the pellets, Long Fei had already released all of his power of celestial. There was no longer any power of celestial in his body, and someone like that could be said to be a piece of trash. Killing Long Fei was too easy. Long Fei laughed complacently. The Great Pavilion Master is indeed the Great Pavilion Master. And then, Long Fei made an inviting gesture with his hand and said, "Pavilion Master, let's begin the examination." The Pavilion Master laughed coldly and said, "Ninth level of Heaven Stage, Violent Attribute, Spirit Burst Pill, top quality." As for his role, the Pavilion Master smiled and said, "To be able to instantly restore a person's power of celestial, whether it's cultivation or battle, this type of medicinal pellet is extremely precious. Ninth level of the Heaven Stage, Spirit Burst Pill, a pill that is infinitely close to being an immortal pill. The Great Pavilion Master is indeed the Great Pavilion Master. The Spirit Burst Pill have already been refined. Truly amazing." The drug race disciples became excited. This was no ordinary pill. This kind of pill was priceless, and there was no market for it. Even Mu Xiaoyao was moved. Drug race's alchemy technique is really too heaven-defying. It caused a huge commotion. Long Fei took the pill and looked at it for a while before opening it to check the system. Then he muttered, "It's just as you said." He had to say it. The Grand Pavilion Master was still very fair in this regard. At the very least, he wouldn't lie to him. With regards to the pill's quality, it was impossible to deceive Long Fei, so he used the system to check the attributes and came out. Long Fei took out the red pellet that he had refined and placed it in front of the Pavilion Master, saying, "No matter what I say, it's useless. As for grades, it should belong to the elixir category." Finished. Long Fei placed the pellet into the hands of the pavilion master, and then walked to the powder-making competition stage opposite of him. He looked at the gigantic green dragon medicine tripod with excitement. "It's mine now. Love you so much." Long Fei wanted to kiss the green dragon medicine tripod ruthlessly. "About that, can you lend me 8 strong men? I want to carry you home." Long Fei intentionally said. He could even pick up a 10,000, 3,000 gene dragon sallier, let alone this green dragon tripod. At this moment, a golden light appeared on the body of the green dragon tripod. Only Long Fei could see the golden light. "Huh, Saint Artifact, that's not right." The Grand Pavilion Master's expression was incomparably unsightly. The Grand Pavilion Master's expression was incomparably unsightly. No matter how many times he tried, no matter how many methods he thought of, the result would still be the same. His level was not high enough. Second Elder, Yao Puty whispered, "Big brother, what's going on?" The Great Pavilion Master's face was ashen as he gave the pill to Yao Puty, saying, "Try it." Yao Puty was stunned. Could it be that there was a pill that even the Grand Pavilion Master was unable to detect? Taking the pill, the idea moved as well, and it was instantly bounced back. Even its body could not take it anymore. The expression on Yao Puty's face drastically changed as he looked at the Pavilion Master, speechless. "This pill, this is impossible." The Great Pavilion Master looked at Long Fei, who was currently ignoring them on the powder-making competition stage. He was strong enough. He was strong enough. A strength that could crush drug race. This was not arrogance, not savagery. The Grand Pavilion Master's heart sank. He felt very uncomfortable and was unable to accept reality, but the truth was the truth. He was unable to sense the quality of this pill. His cultivation was only at Heaven Stage Level 8. He could even sense Heaven Stage Level 9 pills, but he was unable to sense any pills beyond the Heaven grade. In other words, the pellet Long Fei refined exceeded 9th level of Heaven Stage, and just as he had said, it was a pellet of immortality. Appraisal required a high level as well. If the grade of a pill could not be reached, it would be impossible to detect. The Grand Pavilion Master was not ordinary. For him to be able to detect a pill at the great circle of the Heaven Stage was already an astonishing talent, but he was unable to detect any immortal pills above the Heaven Stage. Long Fei looked at their ashen faces, smiled slightly, and said, "You can't detect it, right? That's because your levels are not high enough." Long Fei walked down from the powder-making competition stage and said slightly, "I'll go back to where the green dragon tripod are. If anyone dares to move, I'll fight with him." Finished. Long Fei smiled as he walked to the side of the Pavilion Master and slowly said, "Let me first tell you why I say that you don't even know the most basic of things. Is spirit fragrance just a good pill? It's a high-grade medicinal pill?" "Wrong," Long Fei said. "The reason why it smells good is because you did not merge all the spirit liquid from the spirit grass into the pill and instead released it. No matter how high the grade of the pill is, it would not be able to reach its peak. You don't even know this much. How can you be so complacent? Isn't this the best-case scenario? If even the spirit liquid was evaporated, how could it be the best quality pill? Impossible." Hearing what Long Fei had said, the Grand Pavilion Master's gaze darkened. But he had to admit that Long Fei was right. They had always thought that the stronger the fragrance, the higher the quality of the pills. Now, it seemed that the truly good pills were pills that absorbed the entire spirit grass attribute into the pill. This was a good pill. The Grand Pavilion Master's legs were burning with anger because of what Long Fei had said. Following that, Long Fei continued, "This pill is a first-grade immortal pill. Just call it." This was the pill he had created. His name had yet to be decided when he turned around and saw Man Toal Yuo. He immediately said, "Its name is Man Toal Yuo." Man Toal Yuo's expression changed. Xiaoing instantly became excited and said excitedly, Miss, he used your name to name the medicinal pellet. Wow. So handsome. It's simply too cool. He had an expression of infatuation. Hearing the three words man, Tualuo, the Grand Pavilion Master's expression darkened, and felt as if his face had been slapped once again. Long Fei continued. As for its effects, haha. Long Fei's gaze turned as he stared at the nearby Mu Xiaoyao, and said, Patriarch Mu, you should be the most interested. Spirit's ceiling. Mu Xiaoyao's expression changed. He stared at Long Fei and could not help but shout, Spirit powder? The Mu clan disciples' expression changed, and they stared at Long Fei. His eyes were filled with killing intent. The head pavilion master said lightly, Are there really spirit powder? Long Fei said, You think that man Tualuo is deceiving you? After being chased out of the Medicine Valley for 10 years, she had suffered all sorts of insults and hardships. But what was she thinking? To create a pill that would allow the drug race to rise in power is the spirit powder. Merely, all of you think of her as a monster, a joke. The expression of the drug race disciple darkened. The expression on the face of the pavilion master became even uglier. Man Tualuo was indeed a genius with alchemy, but after that incident, everyone had treated her as a monster. Back then, her parents did not hesitate to use their own lives to protect her. Now that they thought about it, they didn't even try to find out the reason for it. They had indeed gone a bit too far. Man Tualuo's eyes filled with tears. Xiaoling couldn't help but cry. Long Fei continued. This is also the reason why I named her by her name. It is because she created the spirit powder. The pavilion master said, With her current level of cultivation and alchemy, she simply cannot concoct an immortal pill. And this Long Fei said. This was improved on her infant spirit powder, soul sealing of the 5 elements. As soon as his voice faded, looking at Long Fei, his voice became incomparably agitated and said, You're saying, soul sealing of the 5 elements? A pill with the power of the seal of the 5 elements? Medicinal pills with the same attribute as the seal were all existences that defied the heavens. If even the 5 elements can produce seal, too terrifying. Terrifying beyond imagination. Mu Xiaoyao also slightly narrowed his eyes, his killing intent becoming stronger. The pavilion master shook his head and said, Impossible, absolutely impossible. Even Heaven Stage Level 9 alchemy grandmasters would not be able to perfectly release the 5-way spirit grass and achieve a perfect balance in this realm. Suddenly, the Grand Pavilion Master's gaze sunk as he stared at Long Fei, his lips trembling as he said, Could it be that your alchemy technique has already? Long Fei laughed lightly and said, That's right, my alchemy technique has already reached the pinnacle of perfection. Just a little more, and I will be able to step into the realm of immortal pills. Boom! Long Fei's words were like a thunderclap that came crashing down. The entire drug race was trembling. Alchemy technique, great perfection stage. This, in the hundreds of years of the drug race, not a single person was able to do this. Man Tualuo was even more moved. Peak of great perfection, Xiaoling shouted excitedly. How handsome! They were all shocked. However, no one knew how much effort Long Fei had put in. His God's Bone taboo had already caused his devil body to transform. So the pain that he had to endure was something that no one other than the Yan Huang ancestor could experience. Fortunately, he had 2 bodies. Otherwise, he would have become a monster. The space in the 9th floor of the God's Devil token was too uncomfortable. Long Fei was not willing to enter again in this life. Alchemy technique at the great perfection stage was simply too shocking. Equals half carat float hashtag life carat so. Long Fei's arrogance was not arrogance, nor was his arrogance. Long Fei grinned and laughed excitedly. Is the green dragon tripod mine now? At this moment, Mu Xiaoyao suddenly stood up, revealing his sinister mouth, and said, Wait. Chapter 48_8419/2356918. Finally, it was his turn to go on stage. Facing a pleased cold smile, Mu Xiaoyao clapped and said, "Amazing, amazing, it's really quite amazing. I have never seen such a wonderful powder-making competition in my entire life before. I have no choice but to admire you alchemy cultivators. Each and every one of you are monsters." But Mu Xiaoyao laughed coldly. "Everything you've done today was a waste. Because you must die." Mu Xiaoyao pointed to the pavilion master, then to Yao Puty and said, "You die too, and all of you drug race's disciples like you, all of your alchemy, die too." At this moment, the medicinal pill crawled up from the ground, pounced at Mu Xiaoyao's feet, and said, "Patriarch Mu, you and I are on the other side. I was the one who brought you into the medicinal valley. Not waiting for him to finish, Mu Xiaoyao slapped down with his palm, striking the medicine pill on the forehead, and said with a kick, "You're just a piece of trash." A palm fell. The medicinal pills quickly turned into rotten wood, the wood-type chi method of the Mu clan. The pill was instantly killed. The face of the Grand Pavilion Master darkened as he shouted, "Mu Xiaoyao." Mu Xiaoyao pointed at him with one hand and laughed. "Wait first." Then, Mu Xiaoyao looked at Long Fei and said, "You are very powerful, extremely powerful. Just by relying on your own strength to suppress the entire drug race, I will give you a chance to live. From today onwards, if you follow my Mu clan, I will give you the position of Great Elder." Long Fei was too strong. Every type of pill was incomparably powerful. If this kind of person could be used by him, then the Mu clan's power would quickly increase. Mu Xiaoyao laughed complacently. "Don't be in such a hurry to agree. Think carefully before you answer, because if you answer wrongly, you will end up like him." He stared at Long Fei. "You are a smart person." Long Fei laughed. "You can even tell that I'm a smart person? Then should I not pursue the matter of killing your elder and your Mu clan disciple?" Mu Xiaoyao said, "Those are small matters. There's no need to pursue them." Long Fei continued, "Then why don't you pursue the matter of me getting slapped by a ghost?" Mu Xiaoyao's expression turned cold and said, "As long as you become a member of my Mu family, I will not pursue this matter." "Ha ha!" Long Fei laughed and said, "Mu Xiaoyao, I won't pursue the matter of killing your clansmen, and I won't look into it even if I smack you in the face." "Ha ha!" Long Fei laughed very arrogantly, extremely arrogantly. Mu Xiaoyao's face was extremely ugly. He had been played by Long Fei. Mu Xiaoyao's eyes darkened and shouted coldly, "Brat, do you know what happens if you anger me?" Long Fei said, "You weakling, didn't I already kill your elder and slap your face? What would happen to him? Am I still alive?" Mu Xiaoyao was furious. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "You don't have any power of celestial in your body right now. Not to mention using it for cultivation. You are just a piece of trash now. Killing you is even easier than killing an ant." Moreover, Mu Xiaoyao laughed coldly and said, "You may not know this, but the entire Herb Mountain is mine. I'm not a coward like you in drug race. I don't even dare to resist when someone is riding on my head. Fighting with me will not end well for you." At this moment, many drug race disciples were aghast. How could they have thought that Mu Xiaoyao would send the elites of the Mu family into the Medicine Valley to kill Man Tuoluo? That's not right. "Mu Xiaoyao, what are you trying to do?" the pavilion master bellowed. Mu Xiaoyao laughed. "Very simple. Annihilate your drug race. Today, no one will be able to leave this place alive." Mu Xiaoyao's voice shook as he shouted out loudly. It was also at this time that a Mu clan disciple behind him took out a signal flare. A cloud-piercing arrow. A magnificent army came to meet him. The cloud-piercing arrow exploded in midair. Mu Xiaoyao laughed proudly. "Just watch, we will soon surround you all. Don't even think about escaping." He was extremely pleased with himself. He had arranged everything long ago. Mu Xiaoyao stared at Long Fei and sneered. "If you regret now, you'll be in a rush. As long as you kneel down and kowtow to me and apologize, I will spare your pathetic life. From today onwards, you will be a dog of my Mu family, just like Man Tuoluo. You've been a dog of my Mu family for 10 years. Man Tuoluo, What does the divine would heart poison taste? It should be soon the limit of your time. Your body should be slowly turning into wood. Ha ha ha. You want to refine a spirit powder to deal with my Mu family? You're still very young, ha ha. Everything was under his control. Mu Xiaoyao was exceptionally arrogant. The Grand Pavilion Master's face was gloomy. The disciples of the drug race do not have much understanding towards a martial arts training. So even if they do know a little, their cultivation is not high either. They were all in the Medicine Valley and did not know what was happening here. It was already too late to gather disciples. The Great Pavilion Master's heart sank. Does the heavens want my drug race to die? The drug race elders were all furious, but there was nothing they could do. Alchemy and the others were fine, but in the battle, they were nothing more than trash. Mu Xiaoyao looked at the deathly still drug race and became even more excited. He stared at Long Fei and said, "You dog, kneel down and beg for forgiveness." Manto Aluo walked up and stood by Long Fei's side. Xiaoting also walked up and stood on the other side of Long Fei. They wanted to protect Long Fei. Without the power of Celestial, even the strongest warrior would not be able to unleash that much power. Adding on the fact that his alchemy was very taxing on his mental energy, Long Fei would definitely be extremely exhausted right now. How could he possibly be a match for the Mu family's experts at this point in time? Mu Xiaoyao laughed. Just you two trash? Humph, you overestimate yourself. They didn't put the two of them in their eyes at all. It was at this moment. A voice came out of Long Fei's mind. Boss, everything is settled. Following that, the corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up as he laughed and said, Mu Xiaoyao, don't you think that your Mu family army is a little abnormal? It has been so long since a ghost has appeared. Could it be that all of you Mu clan disciples have eaten your shit? As soon as his voice faded, Mu Xiaoyao frowned. Indeed, his reaction was too slow. Logically speaking, it should appear very soon. Even if it did not appear in the forest, there should still be some activity. But now, there was not the slightest sound. Why was this so? Do you think you're awesome? Everything is under control. Long Fei's voice was filled with contempt, and he said with a cold smile, in my eyes, you're merely a weak person. You still want to fight me? You're too inexperienced. If I were to fight with you, I would do the same as bullying a primary school student. Mu Xiaoyao had an ominous premonition. His voice turned heavy as he shouted, go check it out immediately. At this time, Yao Changtian led a group of drug race disciples out from the forest slowly and said with a smile, don't go investigate. All of your people are dead. Mu Xiaoyao's body sank as he shouted, impossible. The 5th chapter was delivered. 8_8419/2356919. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Impossible, absolutely impossible. My Mu family has so many elite disciples, yet all of you drug race trash are no match for us. Mu Xiaoyao yelled out. Another signal flare. Whoosh! Another cloud-piercing arrow shot out. Yao Changtian slowly walked over and laughed. The martial power of our drug race is indeed not strong, but don't forget what we do. I still have to thank Man Toaluo for refining the poison maize pill. While they were talking, Yao Changtian glanced at Long Fei and gently nodded his head. After that, he walked in front of the Pavilion Master and said, Pavilion Master, it was Man Toaluo who discovered the Mu family's conspiracy to destroy my drug race. So he asked me to make preparations in advance. Within Herb Mountain, the eyes of the disciples of the Mu family were all eliminated. Man Toaluo's gaze tensed up. She didn't know any of this. All of this was something that Long Fei had predicted and also something that he had arranged for her. Everything had nothing to do with her, but he pushed all the credit to her. That feeling, it was no longer possible to express it. It was also at this time. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei and Man Toaluo for increasing their affability level by 10. Congratulations to player Long Fei and Man Toaluo for increasing their affability level by 10. Congratulations. Notifications kept ringing. The affability level skyrocketed to 89 points. almost reaching the point where he could do whatever he wanted. In other words, he was stuck on just one point. The Grand Pavilion Master looked at Man Tualuo and felt upset in his heart. Yao Changtian said slightly, "If it wasn't for her, my drug race would probably have suffered a calamity." All the surrounding drug race disciples and elders had a bad expression on their faces. It was exactly as Yao Changtian said. If not for Man Tualuo, many of the Mu clan disciples would have died. The monster in their eyes, the enemy, had actually helped them get through this difficult situation. This was worse than slapping them in the face. The Pavilion Master let out a long breath, looked at Man Tualuo, and bowed deeply, then said, "Thank you." All of the drug race disciples bowed in gratitude. Man Tualuo's eyes were filled with tears of passion. It had been 10 years, 10 whole years, and she didn't even know how she had made it past these 10 years. The defensive line in Man Tualuo's heart had also completely collapsed as he said loudly, "It's me who has let you down, the drug race who has let you down, everyone who has done so." The Pavilion Master continued, "From today onwards, you are the new head of the Medicine Valley. Whoever dares to disobey, I will be the first to not let him off." 10 years ago, she was the young Valley Master. Now, the Pavilion Master returned the things that belonged to Man Tualuo to her, and he still felt that he was extremely indebted to her. He calmed himself and thought back to that matter back then. It was also at this time. A disciple of the Mu family said in a low voice, "Patriarch, there really isn't a single one of us in the forest. It's probably just as they said, all of them." "Impossible," Mu Xiaoyao shouted. "There is no other exit to the Medicine Valley. This is the only exit." Yao Changtian laughed. "Are you really as stupid as the people from Drug Race because of you? Was there no way out?" "Ha ha ha." Mu Xiaoyao's eyes shook. The anger on his body continued to surge, and he released the Spirit Immortal Peak Realm's Spirit Chi. At that moment, he roared at the sky, "Berserk Immortal Power! Release it for me!" Ah! He forcefully broke through the arrogant immortal state. He would pay any price to kill the drug race, to kill Long Fei. Wong. Mu Xiaoyao's cultivation had broken through its shackles, and the aura on his body had become even stronger. His voice was also extremely arrogant as he said, "Even if they die, it'll be enough to deal with trash like you and trash like us." Arrogant, immortal state. Unusual. In the entire Medicine Valley, not a single person was his match. Moreover, the disciples behind Mu Xiaoyao were all experts. Just as he had said, the Mu clan alone would be enough to crush the entire drug race. The great Pavilion Master's face darkened as he shouted, "Where are the drug race disciples?" "Huh, huh," all of the disciples shouted. The Pavilion Master's eyes grew sinister as he said, "Once the small, bursting, immortal pill enters our bodies, our military might isn't strong. However, we have endless pills. Let's see who can kill who." At this moment, Long Fei took a step forward and said to the Pavilion Master, "Can you lend me some things?" He did not say it, but in his heart, he was very clear that without Long Fei's words, the drug race was dead, and he had to admit that he admired Long Fei and even worshipped him a little. To be able to cultivate the alchemy technique to the perfect stage of the heaven stage at the age of 20. Who could do that? At least, he was 180,000 streets away from Long Fei. The Pavilion Master immediately asked, "What do you want?" Long Fei said, "The spirit burst pill you refined just now." The Pavilion Master immediately gave it to Long Fei. Long Fei said, "Thank you." Long Fei swallowed it whole. Ding. Power of Celestial is full, instantly filling up. This pill was too awesome. Long Fei became excited and said, "In return, you will take this man to all you owe, and leave the people from the Mu clan to me." The Pavilion Master was taken aback. Yao Changtian also followed up. He forcefully broke through the arrogant immortal state. "You are only at the 5th stage of the nascent immortal stage. You are not his opponent. You will be in the valley first." Yeah, 5th level of the immortal realm. 1st level of the crazy immortal realm. There was a difference of several tens of levels. How could he be a match for someone like that? However, Mu Xiaoyao is the first boss. How can we let him go? Moreover, from a moment Mu Xiaoyao appeared, he had already thought of a way to kill him. Long Fei said excitedly, "Don't worry, I can deal with him. In my eyes, he's just a primary school student. I'll cripple him." Yao Changtian did not understand. What are primary school students? Long Fei laughed indifferently. "You will know in a while." Long Fei took a step forward, pointed at Mu Xiaoyao, and said, "Just now you said that my power of celestial was exhausted, and now I'm instantly full. You said earlier that I'm not qualified to fight with you. Then I'll show you what qualifications are today." As soon as he finished, Long Fei's heart stirred as he shouted, "Giant demon, come out!" A stream of power of celestial poured into the broken first floor of the 18th level of hell, causing the eyes of the giant demon to open slightly. Roar! A loud sound echoed out. A huge shadow fell from the sky. It was so strong that it exploded. The entire valley was shaking. The giant demon looked at Long Fei respectfully and knelt down on one knee. "Master!" Long Fei stared at the dumbstruck Mu Xiaoyao and laughed arrogantly. "Elementary student, is it enough for me to fight with you now?" Mu Xiaoyao was incredibly shocked. Was this person even human? This was a freakish giant demon. His cultivation suppressed Lin Ming by 100,000 miles. The people of Drug Race were also dumbfounded. Floating life. Table of contents, no windows. A++, they were extremely glad that they did not rashly take action against Long Fei, or else. And then, Long Fei grinned and said, "Kill him. Kill all of those underlings first. Then kill this primary school student." Chapter 6 was sent, plus another chapter. At the end of the month, I have a monthly ticket to support me. Haiyang is extremely grateful. 8_8419/2356920. The striking energy value is not enough. The striking energy value is not enough. He had to kill the lackeys first before he could destroy Mu Xiaoyao. Long Fei's voice fell. The giant demon pulled out a big tree beside him, broke it in half, and turned it into a huge hammer, then smashed it towards the minions. Crack! Crack! It was as if he was swatting a fly. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for defeating Mu family's little Luo. Rewards: 120 EXP, 300 power of celestial, 100 energy values. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for killing Mu family trainee Luo for obtaining 11,000 experience points, 27 power of celestial, and 100 energy values points. The system sounded out continuously. The giant demon swept out another 2 staff strikes. Those minions were instantly wiped out. Long Fei leaped up heavily, stood on the giant demon's shoulder, and looked down at Mu Xiaoyao, who was still trembling on the ground from up high. He laughed wildly. "Mu Xiaoyao, do you think I have the qualifications to be a dog now? Huh? You think you're worthy of acting cool with lousy? You weakling." Mu Xiaoyao did not dare move. His body continuously trembled. He had never suffered such a crushing defeat before. The gravitational pressure being released from the giant demon's body was too strong. His mind and his sea of consciousness had already ruptured. He simply could not endure it. Even if his entire Mu family's disciples were here, they would still not be a match for this giant demon. And then, Mu Xiaoyao suddenly knelt down and said, "Young Master Long, I beg of you to spare my life. I swear that I will never make a move against Drug Race. I will never make a move against Man to all you owe again. I beg of you to spare my life." Life was the most important thing at all times. If he died, there would be nothing left. Mu Xiaoyao was very afraid of death, and looking at the dead disciples beside him, he was even more afraid of death. Long Fei grinned and laughed. "Spare you?" Mu Xiaoyao said. "My son has already been accepted by the God Emperor Academy, and the Mu family has already established a relationship with the God Emperor Academy. If you kill me, my son will not let you go, and the God Emperor Academy will not either." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei roared out, threatening me. The God Emperor Academy is amazing, right? Thinking about the incident that happened on the God's Soul Town, Long Fei became extremely angry. The God Emperor Academy S had dominated the immortal domain for countless of years, and this also caused the students of the Academy to rapidly expand. They did not even put ordinary people in their eyes. The one I am beating is the God Emperor Academy. Giant Demon. Long Fei did not want Mu Xiaoyao to be long-winded anymore and shouted, "Don't worry, I will definitely send your son down to accompany you." Rumble. The giant demon smashed down with the club in his hands heavily, directly creating a long dent. Mu Xiaoyao completely had no ability to resist and was smashed into meat paste. Instant kill. It was also at this time that Long Fei became excited in his heart, touch striking energy value. Demetia. It must be leaked. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the boss Mu Xiaoyao. You have obtained experience points. Power of Celestial, 1,500 points. Energy values, 100 points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 3-rate Fairy Vein. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Immortal Deity Fist. Do you wish to learn it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Heart of Ancient Fairy Tree. Do you wish to fuse it? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Holy 6th rank. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the System Reward Package. Would you like to check it? A gift pack box appeared in Long Fei's mind, shining brilliantly. Long Fei moved his body and said, "Check it." He clicked it. The gift box opened. The system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to the players for obtaining the Infinite Sword. Do you wish to cultivate it? Long Fei's little heart could not take it anymore. What path of the sword? Long Fei's pupils constricted. He held his breath and looked at the words Infinite Sword carefully. His blood started to boil all of a sudden. Damn, it's really the Sword Saint's Infinite Sword. System, damn you, are you that handsome? He's so handsome that he's like a pile of dregs. Long Fei was so moved that he almost cried. Although he did not say much, his favorite hero was Master Yi. The last time he had comprehended the sword intent of the Holy Sword 81 moves in Xianjian sect. It was not the sword intent of the Sword Saint in game, but the current Infinite Sword was the sword intent belonging to the Sword Saint. It was boiling. Long Fei moved and said, "Cultivate." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 experience points for cultivating Infinite Sword. The number of power of Celestial is 100. The reward is 100 points. The Infinite Sword was not a sword technique. There were no moves. It was a kind of sword intent. A supreme sword intent. Training was also training the sword intent of Infinite Sword. With the Infinite Sword, Long Fei's sword training speed would be faster by several times, and his comprehension of the sword would also increase by several times. This was the terror of the Infinite Sword. Long Fei laughed in his heart. We have the Infinite Sword. When will we be able to take the Alpha Assault and become Sword Saint? If you don't believe me, then it's good to have the Barbarian King's help. Dima's big is fine too. Ha ha ha! Long Fei was overjoyed in his heart. Everyone looked at his shocked expression, unable to speak. Just what was he excited about? However, killing Mu Xiaoyao was indeed something exciting, but it was just that, to be able to instantly kill with a bat. Wasn't that too overbearing? Ding! Giant Demon time is over, had also recovered his composure. Looking at the back of the giant demon who had disappeared into the air, he thought to himself, his entire body is covered with the seal chains. When will he be able to release the seal on his body? It was easy to deal with an expert from the arrogant immortal state, but even those giant demons who met the heavenly could only barely deal with them and were unable to completely crush them. If he could remove the chains on his body, his strength would soar. At that time, the ancestor said slightly, "I've studied it carefully. The seal chains on his body have carved this kind of extremely ancient seal runes. Even I have never seen it before. I also find this strange. However, since he is able to follow you, it means that he and you are fated to be able to find a way to undo the chains on his body in the future. You don't have to be too anxious about this matter." Long Fei nodded in his heart. and said, Amen, and then http:// Long Fei looked at the system, seeing that the thing that had exploded out, his immortal foundation, had already been swallowed by the ancestor, leaving behind his immortal deity fist and heart of ancient fairy tree. He thought to himself, ah, the heart of ancient fairy tree. I finally got it. Ancestor, I'll leave the matter of the dragon salure leveling up to you. Yin Huang Ancestor said excitedly, no problem. With the heart of ancient fairy tree, there will definitely be no problem. The dragon salure was something that he had fused with, and the heart of ancient fairy tree was something that was absolutely necessary to advance to the second level of the dragon salure. Furthermore, these few years, the dragon salure had absorbed too much. Only the heart of ancient fairy tree could unleash the strongest of these blood veins powers. You can begin. The first chapter. Thanks Big Yo-Yo for his support of the monthly tickets. 8_8419/2356922. And then the Yin Huang Ancestors' aura disappeared. The Dragon Salure S and Heart of Ancient Fairy Tree S of Long Phase Space Ring also disappeared together. Immortal Divine Fist. Cultivate. Long Fei moved and started cultivating. Skill Path. Immortal Divine Fist Grade. Immortal Grade 9 Consumption. 100 Power of Celestial S Proficiency. Description. This cultivation technique possesses decaying power. With a punch, wood type energy will surge. With a heavy punch, the user will be able to turn the opponent into wood. This should be the Mu clan's best cultivation technique, right? Long Fei smiled slightly. Mu family. Basically, my eyes are rolling over. At this moment, Drug Race and the other disciples also came to their senses, their faces filled with shock. Looking at Long Fei, he started to admire him even more. Could this even be considered to be a human? The astonishing, peerless talent of his alchemy was not counted. He still had such powerful fighting strength. It was too terrifying. It was fortunate that he was also angry and did not take action. Otherwise, Drug Race's fate was unimaginable. Too cool. Young Master Long is simply too handsome. So handsome that it's crappy. Xiao Ying was incomparably excited, and the moment she saw Long Fei summon the giant demon, her heart trembled. This was too fucking valiant. Man Taoyuo was also extremely excited, but at this moment, Man Taoyuo's face turned pale white. Her fingers slowly turned into wood. Her body became stiff, her eyes became blurry, and she fainted. Miss! Young Master Long, the young miss fainted. Xiao Ying was so anxious that tears almost fell, and she shouted out loud. Crap! Long Fei was so excited that he forgot to let the Pavilion Master give Man Taoyuo an almighty anti-poison pill. The great Pavilion Master's forehead tightened as he immediately said, Hurry up and carry her into the Medicine Valley. Hurry. Tianchong, go get the almighty anti-poison pill. Hurry up. No one was more anxious than him. He had done wrong before, but now. Furthermore, the fact that she was able to research a spirit powder was enough to show that her alchemy talent was higher than all of the elders in the Drug Race. Furthermore, they all knew in their hearts that Man Taoyuo's true strength was not in her alchemy. It was poison. Her immortal roots were a type of highly toxic immortal root. Long Fei reminded them, Let me carry her. You two better stay far away from them, or else your temperament will become a mess. The aphrodisiac phenomenon on Man Taoyuo's body could not be resisted by just anyone. The tragedy that happened must be related to the strange fragrance on her body. Long Fei carried Man Taoyuo, retracted his breath, and quickly ran into the valley. Even though he was holding his breath, Long Fei's eyes couldn't help but look at Man Taoyuo's body. There was no way to describe it. His body felt soft and boneless, big but straight. Her slender legs and jade-like skin, every inch, every pore exuded a temptation that no man could resist. Moreover, her domineering age was like a ripe peach, ripe to the point that juice was about to fall out. The most crucial point, Long Fei Mandala was born with the innate skill of aphrodisiac, the realm that no one could stop. Hold on, hold on, Long Fei muttered. Xiao Ying said from the side. Miss will definitely hold on. She will definitely hold on. F*CK. Long Fei muttered in his heart and thought, I'm asking me to hold on by myself. I can't even hold on anymore. The power of primordial energy under my crotch is too strong. At this time, the Yin Huang ancestor was no longer around. He had to rely on himself. With the infinite sword, when will we be able to use a few big moves? One that is as powerful as Pan Shin? A calamity? Long Fei's mind was constantly thinking of other things to distract himself. Only this way would he be able to control himself slightly and not think about Man Tualuo's sexy figure. If it doesn't work, it's good to have area off effect skills. My area off effect skills are too few. Feier's strength is not bad in the Southern Heaven region. But in a mortal domain, I'm afraid. We need to increase our strength as well. Long Fei muttered in his heart. What hero skill is good when it comes to area off effect attacks? Mage's magic is not bad. Ouch! Long Fei was on the verge of losing control and asked, Why aren't you here yet? How far is it? Looking at Long Fei's flushed face and thinking back to that tragic event back then, the pavilion master felt even more that his own grandson, his son, was unstable. He was impressed by Long Fei's ability to control himself. This kid is incredible. It's up ahead. We'll be there soon. The pavilion master pointed to a courtyard. Long Fei's entire body flushed red as he let out a furious roar. His entire person ran out crazily as he cursed in his heart. Damn, I have yet to experience the greatness of another hero. But this, I, on the other hand, have experienced Kwang warrior Olaf's greatness. Rampage! His entire body turned red, and he rushed out like a madman. He rushed into the courtyard with lightning speed, placed Man Tualuo on the bed, and immediately ran out. After taking in a deep breath, he found himself unable to control the power of the flood. Grand Pavilion Master, where's the river? The Pavilion Master was stunned for a moment before saying, In the back of the mountain, there's a deep pool where... Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei had already disappeared. A few minutes later, plop! Long Fei dove down fiercely. His heart was cold, and his heart was in the air. The flames all over his body slowly descended under the deep pool of this ice-cold, bone-piercing water. This feeling was hard to describe. However, if he still could not descend, Long Fei was truly worried that his body would be destroyed by the power of the flood. Thinking back to the tragic case in Drug Race back then, he reckoned that he was also like this. Huff! Long Fei let out a long breath and said, Damn, so my quality was actually this good? I admire myself. Ruh, what's the difference between taking advantage of a human and a beast? However, I was unmoved by that kind of situation. I was even worse than a beast. Long Fei forced a bitter smile. On one side, there were beasts. On the other, there were beasts that were inferior to beasts. No rush. Anyway, the affability level has already reached 89 points. It won't take more than a few days. Long Fei glanced at his affability level with Man Tualuo and excitedly started laughing. However, thinking about the aphrodisiac immortal roots on Man Tualuo's body, his chrysanthemum tightened. Don't kill them off when the time comes. That's a problem. I still want to find a few more girls. Half an hour later, Xiao Ying hurriedly ran to the back mountain, looked at Long Fei, who was deep inside the pond, and said, Young Master Long, young miss has woken up. Long Fei was startled. The effects of the almighty anti-poison pill is really fast. It woke up already in such a short time. Following that, he crawled up from the deep pool. As he was not wearing much clothes, his body became translucent when he wet himself. The muscles were not big, but they were filled with boundless power. 36. Search. Half floating / / equals. In addition to the few visible scars, Long Fei's steel-like and handsome face became even more prominent. He looked extremely manly and cool. Xiao Ying's cheeks flushed red when she saw this. Long Fei immediately hugged her hands and shouted, "You female rogue! What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a man take a bath before?" Chapter 2. Thank you for Fox. S monthly vote support 8_8419/2356923. Ah, you're the hooligan. Xiaoing saw some things that he shouldn't have seen. Both of his cheeks were flushed, and his ears were about to turn red from all the dripping. So he turned and fled like a madman. However, the instant he turned around, he bumped into a tree, causing him to stumble and run in pain. He almost fell down several times. He was completely panicking. F***CK. Woman, am I that scary? Long Fei muttered as he took out a set of clean clothes from a space ring. At this moment, Man Tuoyuo had already woken up, and the poison in his divine wood heart had been completely cleansed. As long as it was a man, they had to retreat out of the room. They were not afraid, but they couldn't resist the power of the immortal foundation from Man Tuoyuo's body. Man Tuoyuo also knew in his heart that he wanted to get up. The pavilion master hurriedly said, "Child, don't get up. You have not recovered yet. Sai, you've suffered so much all these years. It's all my fault. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have." The great pavilion master fell into a deep state of guilt. All these years, he had always thought that it was Man Tuoyuo who destroyed the drug race. He always hated her in his heart, so much so that in the ancestral hall, Man Tuoyuo's parents would definitely die. Regarding this, he blamed himself in his heart. Man Tuoyuo said, "Pavilion master, I was the one who harmed everyone. If it wasn't for my natural immortal foundation, drug race wouldn't have been able to produce so many things. Child, today, you saved drug race. On behalf of the drug race, I thank you." Finished. The pavilion master fell to his knees. Man Tuoyuo's gaze tightened. "Great pavilion master, you can't." At this moment, Long Fei walked into the courtyard. Seeing the pavilion master kneeling down, he was secretly shocked. A dignified drug race elder kneeling down for all the mistakes from the past was extremely rare. How many people could do that? Immediately, Long Fei said, "Pavilion master, everything is over now. If you're saying this, then you won't take Man Tuoyuo as a person of the drug race. She has never forgotten that she is the descendant of the drug race, so she decided on the way here that she might not get the antidote." Of course, Long Fei made this up. Man Tuoyuo looked at Long Fei, his eyes filled with gratitude. The Grand Pavilion Master was helped up by Long Fei and said, "We were wrong." And then, the Grand Pavilion Master looked at Long Fei and said, "I also thank young Hero Long for saving me. Otherwise, my drug race would have been covered in corpses." Long Fei laughed. "What are you saying? Don't forget, I have trampled your drug race quite miserably. I believe you all hate me to death, haha." Ha. The Pavilion Master also laughed. The many elders of drug race all followed and laughed. They had never been afraid of anyone in their lives on alchemy. He naturally hated Long Fei, but when they found out that Long Fei's alchemy technique had already reached the great perfection stage and was only a step away from the immortal pills domain, they suddenly realized that Long Fei's suppression was very normal and that they were not his match at all. Moreover, they were grateful that Long Fei had saved drug race. Long Fei glanced at Man Tuoyuo. He did not dare get close to him now, and lightly smiled. "Hurry and heal your injuries." Man Tuoyuo said, "Will you leave?" Long Fei muttered, "Go? Leave what? F***CK. You won't forget what you promised me, will you?" Long Fei's expression tightened and said, "You promised to be my guide and take me to God Emperor Academy." At that time, Man Tuoyuo did not take Long Fei seriously at all. Now that he thought about his promise with Long Fei, he immediately smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, I'll definitely bring you there. Even if you want to go anywhere, I'll take you anywhere." Finished. Her cheeks were flushed. Long Fei laughed. "That's good. You have to keep your word." And then, the system beeped. The notification sound for completing the quest was What made Long Fei a little disappointed was that he did not touch on any more new missions, so the chain of missions he thought were done with as well. However, enough. After getting the heart of ancient fairy tree, he would be able to make a profit. Furthermore, he would have leveled up and received the system's reward. This trip to the Medicine Valley was a huge profit. That's not right. Long Fei felt that something was missing. What exactly is it? What is it? Long Fei kept thinking. At this moment, the pavilion master slightly shrank back and wanted to leave the hall, but the other elders followed suit. Seeing them like that, Long Fei muttered, "Where are you guys going?" Suddenly, Long Fei was startled. "Damn, I almost forgot about it." Instantly, Long Fei took a step forward and grabbed the Grand Pavilion Master's hand, then giggled and said, "Grand Pavilion Master, dear brother, you're still not paying me back yet, aren't you? Something. Is it your item? How come I didn't know?" The Pavilion Master feigned ignorance as he looked at the other elders around him. "Do you all know what it is?" "Damn," Long Fei said. "Pavilion Master, you aren't trying to deny it, right? You lost the bet with my powder-making competition, Green Dragon Medicine Tripod." The faces of the elders immediately became bitter. They all knew in their hearts that they were afraid Long Fei would bring up this matter. The Green Dragon Medicine Tripod was a sacred artifact of the drug race. They had to rely on it to support their sect. If not for it, the Pavilion Master would not be able to refine Spirit Burst Pill with his strength, and all of them were the sacred objects of the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod. The Grand Pavilion Master's face was bitter as he said, "Young Hero Long, if you have something to say, please say it. Green Dragon Medicine Tripod S. That is a sacred object passed down from our drug race. In the Medicine King's clan of the Tianwu continent, there is only such an item that has been passed down. If you take it away, that would be equivalent to taking away our drug race S." At that time, only in a fit of rage would he agree to Long Fei's wager. If he calmed down, he would absolutely not agree. Green Dragon Medicine Tripod was something inherited by the Master. If they were to lose like this, even if the Grand Pavilion Master died, he would not know how to meet them. "I don't care. You have to admit that you lost." Long Fei did not care about all that. Powder Tripod was a small matter, but the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod was glowing with a golden light. It had a quest or something, otherwise it would not be so golden. Moreover, when he was refining the man to all you owe pellet, the dragon's roar was resonating, the dark dragon god in the dragon salure was roaring, and the green dragon on top of the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod was also roaring. Obviously, there was something wrong. He needed to know what exactly was hidden in the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod. Was it related to his long family? Green Dragon Medicine Tripod were passed down from the Medicine King race to the drug race. That was something millions of young people would do. */float * life. At that time, is the Long family related to the Medicine King race? Or could there be a secret of the Dragon Domain on the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod? Chapter 3. Thank you for your critical hit on the monthly tickets. Thank you. 8_8419/2356-924. I must hand it over. I must hand it over. You won't be courteous if you don't hand it over to me, Long Face said angrily. The Pavilion Master's expression turned ugly, but in the end he still said, I admit defeat. The gazes of the elders tightened. That is the sacred artifact that was passed down from the Master. The Pavilion Master said, It's all my fault. Someone come. Bring the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod to the courtyard. After the Pavilion Master said this, his body trembled as if something heavy was pressing down on his body. The elders stepped forward, the Pavilion Master. The Pavilion Master forced a smile and said, I'm fine, just my liver hurts a little. Let's go. However, young Hero Long, the Green Dragon Medicine Tripod is a sacred artifact of our drug race. You must use it well. You must not be even more damaged. You better not take the risk of refining some uncontrollable medicinal pellets if the furnace explodes. Long Fei said excitedly. The explosion will not bother you. Cough, cough, cough. The Pavilion Master coughed continuously. Long Fei laughed. If your liver pain is too severe, quickly withdraw. Otherwise, if you see the green dragon medicine tripod being absorbed by me, your liver will ache even more. Sigh. The pavilion master sighed at the sky, feeling incomparably bitter in his heart. Master, I'm sorry. Finished. The pavilion master lowered his head and unsteadily walked out of the courtyard, his whole body trembling in pain. 10 minutes later. Ha 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 ha. The 8 burly men were drenched in sweat as they carried the green dragon medicine tripod into the courtyard, panting from fatigue. After putting down the powder tripod, he quickly left the place. Only Long Fei was left in the courtyard, still glowing with golden light. This time, is it always mine? Long Fei took a step forward, and the idea moved. It was also at this time. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the sacred item Green Dragon Tripod. Do you wish to view its attributes? Huff! Long Fei became excited. It's finally mine, huh? And then, Long Fei moved. Check the properties. Item, Green Dragon Tripod Grade. Saint Function, Alchemy Description 1. This cauldron is a dragon bloodline cauldron passed down to Medicine King race. Description 2. This pill furnace possesses the power of the Azure Dragon Fury. The power of the dragon's roar could raise the grade of the pill and increase the power of the pill. Description 3. This item has a hidden passive condition, which is the activation passive condition, Long Family Blood Essence. Huh. As expected, it is indeed related to the dragon race. It was the dragon race who gifted it to the Medicine King race, and then passed it down as the inheritance of the drug race. It is no wonder that when the dark dragon god was angry, the dragon cry followed inside the green dragon tripod. However, Long Fei frowned. Looking at the green dragon tripod's description, he thought to himself, the first description is that the dragon race will be given to the Medicine King race, but the third description requires the Long family's blood essence to be activated. The dragon race, the Long family's disciples. What's the connection? Dragon clan, Long family disciple? Could it be that the dragon race is the Long family, and the Long family is the dragon race? Long Fei's mind was opened wide, thinking about it, and immediately denied it. The dragon race is indeed the dragon race, while the Long family is the Long family. How can they be one? Furthermore, the ancestor of the Long family had killed Dark Dragon God before. How could they be from the same clan? Absolutely impossible. Long Fei overruled his own guess. I need the Long family's blood essence to activate it. All right, let me see what kind of passivity you are hiding. Long Fei's heart stirred. He opened the credit exchange system and exchanged them for 2 holy artifacts from the South Horizon region. The holy artifact of the Southern Sky region no longer had much use for them in the immortal domain. Long Fei moved. I want to exchange for dragon blood. 8 million points for a portion of dragon blood. Long Fei felt a bit of heartache, but he really wanted to know what kind of secret the green dragon tripod was hiding. Could it be related to his father? Could it be related to the disappearance of the Long family's 500 generations of ancestors? He had promised Long Quangtian the underworld that he would definitely find out the reason behind Long family's calamity, that he must definitely find out the reason behind the disappearance of his ancestor. After exchanging the dragon blood, he dripped it onto the green dragon tripod. Buzz! The green dragon tripod released a ray of cyan light, and the dragon carving around the powder tripod looked like it was about to break free. It became extremely sinister and released waves of dragon roars. Long Fei's ears went numb, his mind and his sea of consciousness actually could not take it, and retreated continuously. Boom, boom. An incomparably loud sound rang out. Only after a few seconds did they stop. Long Fei carefully walked forward, and the idea moved to check again. However, there were no changes to the attribute. Any more passive touch. Holy sh**t. Are you kidding me? My 8 million points, my liver, this is going to hurt me to death. Long Fei wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Try again. I'll F***k your sister. How could Lousy have anything to exchange for points? Long Fei wanted to die, but seeing that there were no changes to the green dragon tripod, He was extremely drunk. However, Long Fei did not give up on researching the green dragon tripod, as he was even more certain that the green dragon tripod was hiding some kind of secret. The purity of the dragon's blood is not good enough? Or is the dragon blood simply not enough? Long family blood essence. Could it be the blood essence of the disciples of the Long family? Long Fei immediately thought of how all the disciples of his Long family possessed dragon blood activation, and how his grandfather had even transformed into a tyrant dragon. But it's them. The dragon blood activation within Long Fei's body was 0, which meant that there were no dragon spirit blood to speak of. Can you do it? Long Fei thought. We can't possibly make another trip back to the southern domain, right? Even if we go back, I won't be able to find the way. I don't care. Let's try it out first. It's just a drop of blood essence. There won't be any deaths. After Long Fei finished speaking, he moved his finger and a drop of blood essence condensed. His blood essence was his negative activation to dragon blood, and logically speaking, his blood essence was Trash's blood essence. It was basically useless, and Long Fei only had the mindset of trying it out, yet not dying. His blood essence fell into the green dragon tripod S. Blood began to roll like beads among the powder tripod. He wouldn't absorb it at all. Long Fei held onto his liver with one hand and said, "Do you have to be like this? If you don't even absorb it, then you won't give any face at all?" His heart was dead. Was negative activation to dragon blood really like this? Humph, Long Fei thought. All right, next time when grandfather and the others bring people into the immortal domain to check your stats, I won't believe it. At this moment, boom, Long Fei's idea suddenly let out a loud noise. Then its two eyes darkened as a powerful force swallowed its idea inside, causing it to enter an incomparably large space. Suddenly, Long Fei was so scared that he almost peed his pants. However, what made him even more horrified was the appearance of a gigantic dragon whose body covered the sky like a dragon, a Chinese dragon god. Its entire body was suffused with azure light. Azure dragon ancestor. This was just one point. More importantly, the green dragon had spoken 2 words, boss. 8_8419/2356925. He was going to kneel. He was going to kneel. Long Fei almost kneeled down. The word boss. S' little heart was completely unable to take it, and her body had gone soft. What was in front of him? The azure dragon ancestor. Its aura was enough to kill him 18 times over. However, Long Fei forcefully held it back, restrained himself from trembling, lowered his voice, and asked, "What are you calling me?" He heard it clearly. But what if the azure dragon ancestor calls someone else? This boss can't be reckless. The azure dragon founder said, "Boss, I'm calling you boss. How many years has it been? It seems like there is hope for the dragon race." Plop. This time, Long Fei almost kneeled down. The azure dragon ancestor spoke quite carefully. He was calling him boss. He's the azure dragon ancestor's boss. He recognized the wrong person. He must have recognized the wrong person. Long Fei said in his heart. Normally, he would be very arrogant and wild, but now he was facing the azure dragon ancestor, who could easily kill him in an instant. That's not right. He's a dragon, and I am only one person. Even if I recognize the wrong person, I wouldn't recognize him, right? Long Fei felt that something was wrong. And then, Long Fei asked, "You are the azure dragon ancestor?" The azure dragon ancestor said, "Have you forgotten about me? I am Shaoqing, boss. Don't you remember me?" Oh my God! Long Fei's heart was about to explode. The azure dragon ancestor addressing himself as little Qing in front of him, Long Fei said in his heart, "Why aren't you White Lady?" Suddenly, the azure dragon ancestor's forehead tightened. Long Fei instantly became nervous. This guy couldn't have recognized me, right? You're not going to say that I'm an imposter and kill me, right? I'll be dead meat. After pondering for a moment, the azure dragon ancestor stared at Long Fei the entire time. His 2 huge dragon eyes sunk, and he suddenly said, "I know, you haven't awakened your strength yet. All right then. That's fine too. All of this is a foregone conclusion for the Dragon Clan. Whether it is a new calamity or the rise of 10,000 dragons, it doesn't mean that time has yet to come. Right. Our dragon race does not believe in fate. We do not believe in the heavens. We only believe in ourselves. Although the wait is long, but now it's finally here. He kept talking to himself, causing Long Fei to not be able to interrupt him at all. In the end, he still interrupted and asked, Xiaoqing, what the hell is going on? Can you tell me? Long Fei gathered all of his strength just by saying Xiaoqing. Since you haven't awakened yet, then I can't say anything more. In short, you need to find the dragon domain first and awaken your strength. At that time, I'll tell you everything about the Dragon Clan. About that, do you know anything about the Long family? It's fine if you don't tell me about the dragon race, but tell me about the Long family. Compared to the dragon race, Long Fei wanted to know more about the Long family. What exactly happened in the calamity at Long family? Where did the 500 generations of experts from the Long family go? The Azure Dragon ancestor was startled, looked at Long Fei, and said, It looks like you don't know anything. Long Fei replied, I don't know anything. Tell me. The Azure Dragon ancestor thought for a while and said, You have to solve everything yourself. As long as you continue to solve the secrets of the dragon race, you will know everything and you will be able to regain your strength. I can only tell you one thing. The dragon race is the Long family, and the Long family is the dragon race. He's the one in charge of our dragon clan. He's also the head of Long family. We call you Boss Yuan Long. The amount of information he had was simply too much. Long Fei's brain was a little unable to process it. The dragon race is the Long family, and the Long family is the dragon race. What am I? Yuan Long? Dragon? Do you mean the primordial dragon? While Long Fei was asking these questions, his idea had already been sent back by the Azure Dragon ancestor. A blinding light. Long Fei came out from the green dragon tripod S, his body trembling as he anxiously asked, Xiaoqing, what exactly happened? What do you mean dragon race is the Long family, and Long family is the dragon race? Can you still have some integrity? Damn you. I curse you to be 10 meters shorter. Long Fei became angry. The things that the Azure Dragon ancestor said, he did not understand at all. Furthermore, when he was half speaking, and just like when the girls were patting each other, he had just taken off his clothes and rushed over hurriedly. You are telling me, Big Ant, isn't that asking for human life? Let me in. Let me in and explain. Are you letting me in? The moment Long Fei's temper flared up, he kicked him. Bam! Io! Long Fei hugged his leg and grimaced in pain. His toes almost broke from the pain, and he was extremely gloomy. Your sister, why don't you just say it, and say something that no one can understand? How depressing. No matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't make head or tail of it. He was clearly human, but why was he a dragon? How could a dragon be human? If the disciples of the Long family were all dragons, then why would they need the dragon blood of ice and fire to activate the dragon blood in their bodies and transform into dragons? In theory, it didn't make any sense at all. Too many secrets. Whether it was the Long family or the Dragon Clan, they had too many secrets. The more he searched, the more he felt like there was a huge secret hidden within. Dragon territory. I have to find the dragon domain first. All the mysteries can be solved there. Long Fei's heart tightened. Searching for the dragon domain was a SSS grade mission, and the time limit was 10 years. He had to find the dragon domain. At this moment, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Green Dragon Tripod. Didn't the system inform you just now? Why are you here again? Long Fei thought it was strange. He opened up the system to take a look and discovered that there was one more Green Dragon Tripod among his group. A mini version of the Green Dragon Tripod. It was exactly the same. It was over 100 times smaller. A voice came out from the Green Dragon Tripod. Boss, I'll come out when you find the dragon domain. Then, there was no then. Long Fei shouted, Come out, Xiaoqing, come out. I promise I won't beat you to death. Baidu sister-in-law, AA half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system, he was completely like a madman. When Xiao Ying, who had just walked into the courtyard, saw Long Fei like this, he muttered to himself and kicked the green dragon tripod again. Xiao Ying's heart tensed up. Could young Master Long have gone mad? You're crazy, talking to a powder tripod? However, his irritable looks are so handsome. 8_8419/2356926. The next day, Long Fei had tried a few times, but to no avail. The Azure Dragon ancestor completely ignored him. He completely gave up and thought to himself, looks like I really have to find the dragon domain first. Miss, young Master Long seems a little strange these few days. Xiao Ying, who was standing at the window, looked at Long Fei, who had just finished muttering something, and said, could it be that he overdid his alchemy cultivation last time and over-refined his brain? I heard that alchemy consumes a lot of mental energy. If your mental energy can't hold it, wouldn't your brain be damaged? Man Tuoyuo knew about Long Fei talking to the powder tripod. Moreover, an irritable Man Tuoyuo replied, probably not. It was impossible for an alchemy technique at the Great Perfection realm to have the ability to refine a brain. However, Man Tuoyuo also did not know why Long Fei acted in such a way. And then, Xiao Ying thought about the trust that the pavilion master and a few elders had given him in the morning and said, Miss, the pavilion master and Uncle Yao found me again today. They said that they wanted me to tell you that they wanted you to persuade young Master Long and see if they could return the green dragon tripod to the drug race. I have to say it. We admit defeat. Long Fei won. If he has the guts, let him win it back. Xiao Ying pouted. She did not agree with Long Fei saying that he was a green dragon tripod. But she thought about how Long Fei had always talked to himself with the green dragon tripod, and had even attacked loudly, and said, come to think of it, it really feels terrible to lose all of Master's things. Man Tuoyuo looked at Long Fei, who was in the courtyard, and frowned. Tell them that I can't do this. She wanted to help drug race. However, the green dragon medicine tripod was something that Long Fei had won, and she could not open her mouth to ask that. At this moment, Long Fei walked into the hall, picked up the teapot, and gulped it down fiercely. F***CK, you're infuriating me. You're not giving me any face at all. All right, I don't believe it. I'll hack you apart. The sound was too loud. All of the elders and pavilion masters outside the courtyard were so scared that their legs turned soft. They all knew about Long Fei's strange behavior these 2 days, but they could not figure out why Long Fei had a fight with a powder tripod. But when they heard that he was going to destroy the green dragon tripod, they scrambled into the courtyard. The pavilion master almost kneeled down towards Long Fei and said, no, young hero Long, if you don't want it to be returned to us, you can't destroy it either. That's right. Young Master Long, what do you want? Even if I have to sell it to you, I will bring it back. Green dragon medicine tripod cannot be destroyed. That's the only thing that our master left behind. The elders of the Elders' Pavilion were so scared that their tears almost fell out. Long Fei shouted, I'm going to destroy it. The person who pisses me off has never survived. Find me an axe. The 2 elders immediately fainted from shock. The pavilion master hurriedly walked in and said, young Master Long, green dragon tripod cannot be destroyed. If it is, how are we going to meet our ancestors after it's dead? They hadn't slept last night. He couldn't sleep at all, thinking that the green dragon tripod had fallen into Long Fei's hands. They were unable to eat or sleep soundly, and felt as if they were all older than 10 years old. At this moment, Man Tuoyuo also walked out and said, young Master Long, can you return the green dragon tripod to drug race? Xiao Ying also followed, young Master Long, return it to drug race. She was worried that Long Fei would become crazy because of the green dragon tripod. Long Fei looked at Man Tuoyuo, exhaled deeply, and said, for your sake, you can also return it to drug race. Thank you, young Master Long. Thank you so much, Man Tuoyuo. If Man Tuoyuo had not spoken, The Pavilion Master felt that Long Fei would still not return the green dragon tripod to the drug race. Don't thank me too early, Long Fei said lightly. The green dragon tripod can return it to you, but I want to... Long Fei pondered for a moment, then said, I want 100 spirit burst pill, and there is a space ring here. Fill it up for me. If you can do these two things, I can return the green dragon tripod to you. The two unconscious elders instantly woke up and said, Yes, yes, no problem. We can do it. It seemed like the two of them were just playing a trick. The Pavilion Master was also incomparably excited as he said, Young Master Long, you're the one who said it. We'll immediately fulfill your request. Pass my orders, go to the pill warehouse, and take out 100 spirit burst pill. Also, fill this space ring to the brim quickly, understand? He was just afraid that Long Fei would go back on his words. Looking at their excited expressions, Long Fei was dumbstruck. He thought to himself, Damn, if I had known this would happen, I would have lost 1,000 gold coins. Spirit Burst Pill. He needed it badly. It could instantly restore his power of celestial value. This kind of pellet could be said to be the pellet Long Fei needed the most, but so he wouldn't understand the refining method of Spirit Burst Pill. He couldn't ask either. After all, this was a secret of the drug race. However, he could not refine it. Man Tualuo definitely could. After going through all these in the drug race, Man Tualuo would definitely become the alchemy technique in his camp. With her there would be no need to worry about the pills in the future. In less than 3 minutes, 100 Spirit Burst Pill S and Space Ring S filled to the brim were placed in front of Long Fei. The Grand Pavilion Master's face was filled with excitement as he said, Bring the green dragon tripod back to me. The holy object that our master has passed down has returned. The 8 elders were as excited as children. Actually, Long Fei had wanted to return it to Drug Race a long time ago. He had the mini version of the green dragon tripod, and the Azure Dragon ancestor was among them. He only wanted to squeeze a little bit more and wait a bit more. In addition, he wanted to make the Pavilion Master more grateful towards Man Tualuo in his heart. He wanted to break through that point of affability level. When the Grand Pavilion Master saw the green dragon tripod being carried out of the courtyard, he finally relaxed and said to Man Tualuo, It's all thanks to you. If it wasn't for you, Long Fei counted the pills. If it wasn't for Man Tualuo, I really wouldn't have returned the favor. He laughed in his heart. The Grand Pavilion Master was even more grateful to Man Tualuo in his heart. How could she not know what Long Fei was planning? His heart was filled with gratitude. Man Tualuo said, Pavilion Master, this is also something I should do. Following that, she continued, Grand Pavilion Master, all the elders and uncles are here. Regarding the position of Valley Master, I'm truly not qualified. I hope Grand Pavilion Master can retract this order. The Pavilion Master was startled. Is someone saying something? Child, don't worry. If anyone dares to question you, I will be the first to not let them go. Man Tualuo shook his head continuously. No one is accusing me. It's me who doesn't have the qualifications. Moreover, Baidu's sister-in-law, A-half. Floating Life, strongest upgrade system man, Tualuo looked at Long Fei. Biting his lips, he said, Pavilion Master, our drug race's alchemy is indeed strong, but our strength is very weak. If we want the drug race to prosper, we need a strong backer to rely on. I want to go to God Emperor Academy with young Master Long. I want to enter the God Emperor Academy. The 6th chapter with another chapter. Thanks to all the brothers for their monthly tickets, and thank everyone for their support. 8_8419/2356927. This world was the world of Martial Dao. This world was the world of Martial Dao. If he wanted to protect himself, he would have to become strong on his own or have to rely on a towering tree. Previously, Man Tualuo knew that after the fight with the Mu family, she had to be even more clear that if she wanted the drug race to prosper, she had to find a force that could ensure their safety. God Emperor Academy. The Immortal Domains #1 Academy. and even a #1 academy in the entire Sky Martial Continent. As long as one could become a disciple of the God Emperor Academy and build a relationship with him, the other powers would naturally keep their distance from him. Also, no one had broken through into the celestial core realm in Drug Race's alchemy for hundreds of years. If she wanted to break through, she didn't want to find a higher level teacher, and that would be the best choice for her in the entire Sky Martial Continent. 3 days later, at the mouth of the Medicinal Valley. Elders, all of you can go back. Don't worry, I will definitely enter God Emperor Academy. Man Toaluo was incomparably resolute. She would definitely let the drug race reproduce. This was the last bloodline of Medicine King race in the Sky Martial Continent. Xiao Man, you must be careful. The world outside is very complicated, and this is what happens with God Emperor Academy. You must be careful by yourself. Yao Chang Tian was a little reluctant as he urged her. The Grand Pavilion Master also said, think about everything. Alchemy is the same. If there's anything, discuss it with young Hero Long. Man Taoyuo said. Thank you, Uncle Tian Chong. Thank you, Grand Pavilion Master. And thank you, elders. I will definitely remember your teachings. Finished. Man Taoyuo bowed deeply, turned around, and left with large strides. He didn't look back. Long Fei waved his hand. Let's go. His heart was full of resentment. Why did he not want more Spirit Burst Pill back then? And then there was the Azure Dragon Ancestor. He wanted to ask the Grand Pavilion Master, but he resisted in the end. Because this was the Long family's secret. If too many people knew, it would be bad for him, the Long family, and the dragon race. First, I'll enter the God Emperor Academy and rescue Senior E. Then, I'll see if I can find any clues about Dragon Domain in the God Emperor Academy. Long Fei made up his mind. The Dragon Domain existed in the Sky Martial Continent. However, no one knew where it was. No one had been here for tens of thousands of years, but it still existed. Otherwise, the Tianwu continent would not be divided into the 5 great regions. The Mystic Dragon region, the Demon Race's Dark Domain, the Heaven Martial Center's Immortal Domain, the Long family's origin area, the South Horizon region, and the place that was rumored to be close to the sky, the Wilderness region. The 5 great regions were all different. In another place, at the Mu residence, the Patriarch is dead. The Mu clan is finished. The Mu clan is finished. The news of Mu Xiaoyao's death spread to the Mu family after 5 days. To the Mu family, it was like a thunderbolt out of the blue. Mu Xiaoyao was dead. All the elite members of the Mu family were dead, and the Mu family was completely finished. All these years, in order to expand their power, the Mu family had offended many people. With Mu Xiaoyao's death, these powers would definitely retaliate, and the Mu family would definitely not be able to resist. In the main hall, a man who wasn't even 20 years old frowned. Who killed my father? Who is it? The rage raged. The image of a divine wood flower appeared on his body. The Mu clan's sacred art had been cultivated to its pinnacle, and he had relied on this technique to be accepted by the God Emperor Academy. The disciple tremblingly replied, It's man Toaluo, drug race, and there's also a youth surnamed Long. The Patriarch died in the hands of this youth surnamed Long. Where are they now? They are heading in the direction of the God Emperor Academy. Seems to be saying that they want to enter the God Emperor Academy. The young man's eyes darkened. Man Toaluo, I will wait for you in God Emperor Academy. I will make you pay 10,000 times the price. Just you wait. 8_8419/2356-928. As soon as his voice faded, the elders of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals were all startled and looked towards the elder at the same time. The elder laughed in embarrassment. I was just guessing. The dragon clan was killed and the dragon region was lost. How could it be a plot by the dragon clan? Everyone felt relieved. They had never seen a dragon before. The dragon clan used to be the absolute hegemon of the Sky Martial Continent. Moreover, the most important thing was the dragon clan were outsiders. They were not part of the Sky Martial Continent. That huge catastrophe was also the arrival of an expert from beyond the heavens. No one knew where that expert came from. The Dragon Clan was exterminated, the Dragon Domain vanished, and the Sky Martial Continent only had the legends of the Dragon Clan. It was also at that time that the long family of the South Horizon region slowly appeared in everyone's vision. At this time, the Supreme God said lightly, "Everything has its limits. We do not need to guess any further. The giant demon has disappeared, and there is no need to investigate further." Also, how is the recruitment of students in God Emperor Academy going? Do you have any students with the potential to become a demon slayer? This was what he was concerned about. He saw the revelation of heaven, the appearance of the giant demons, the appearance of the demon slayer would follow. The most urgent matter now was to find those demon slayer. Mainly finding them will be enough to slaughter the giant demons and save Sky Martial Continent. An elder stepped forward and answered, reporting to Supreme God, God Emperor Academy has recruited a lot of good seedlings this year, and there is no lack of peerless geniuses among them. Moreover, this year's freshmen are more than 10 times what they used to be. I believe that there should be Demon Slayer amongst these students, but we don't know how to confirm our identity as Demon Slayer. That's hard to do. Another elder followed. That's right, I'm in charge of more or less enrollment. Do the Demon Slayer have any standards or characteristics? Who is the Demon Slayer? What are his characteristics? I don't know. They didn't know, and neither did the Supreme God. Supreme God slightly said, I am not too sure, but I believe that Demon Slayer possesses the power to kill demons. No matter what, this year's novices must pay special attention. Also, the students that broke the admission limit focus on training. A special reminder. All of the elders nodded their heads and said, those who managed to break this record were all genius amongst geniuses. If we were to talk about the Demon Slayer, it would definitely be one of them. Supreme God, where are the people who came to the God Emperor Academy to apply? The God Emperor City has already gathered tens of thousands of examinees. Moreover, the students from all over the Sky Martial Continent are still crazily streaming in. What should we do with these disciples? Too much. The God Emperor Academy was the sacred place in their hearts. As long as they could enter the God Emperor Academy, they would be able to enter heaven and soar into the heavens. Supreme God said slightly, in the past, God Emperor Academy had to accept 1,000 disciples every year. Increase it by 10 times and accept 10,000 students. As for those disciples who fell first, if you can't even pass the assessment, you shouldn't be a demon slayer. All the elders echoed his sentiments. If you can't even pass God Emperor Academy, how could you be a demon slayer? I don't think there's a need to give those people a chance. The demon slayer must be among those students that have broken the rules. I think so too. It's different this year. We'll spread our nets widely. Hopefully we'll be able to catch some fish. Towards those disciples with average talent and aptitude, these lofty elders simply didn't bother to spare them a glance. In their eyes, there were only those students who had broken the rules. With the Supreme God's acknowledgement, they became more convinced that the Demon Slayer was among these broken students. After going back, they would definitely divide up the students that were accepted and train them. If they could cultivate a Demon Slayer when Gu Wuji was not around, then every elder was thinking about this in their hearts. As long as they discovered the first Demon Slayer, their identities would naturally be different. They were all shouting in the dark. Even though Gu Wuji was in closed-door training, but his disciples weren't idle. It could be said that these elders didn't have as many geniuses as him. Hong Tianjuan's death brought him great benefits. However, this was not enough. His goal was the position of Supreme God. He was cultivating in the immortal cave, and a year's time was enough for him to comprehend the 8th immortal foundation. As long as he broke through to the 8th immortal foundation and entered the fitted realm, he would be able to compete with the Supreme God in power. Long Fei. With this guide, Long Fei didn't have to worry about getting lost anymore. However, sometimes guides don't work. Man Tall Yuo frowned and muttered, there should be a Tongxian city in front of us after we climb this mountain. Why is that wrong? Long Fei let out a long sigh. What a tragedy, I got lost again. The immortal domain was simply too big. No road signs, no maps. How? The whole world is filled with mountains and rivers. Aren't you lost? It would be strange if you didn't get lost. Man, Toayuo said, Grand Pavilion Master has visited the God Emperor city before. I was following his route, so I shouldn't be wrong. Long Fei said, What do you mean it shouldn't be wrong? I don't know how many times I've met you along the way, but if you're going to be my guide, then I've had bad luck for 8 lifetimes. He felt like he was walking all the way. It might as well be Long Fei herself. However, the only good thing was that there was still some time left until the God Emperor Academy's assessment. Otherwise, he would really miss it. Man Toayuo's face reddened and said, It's not as scary as you say. Let's try climbing another mountain. Finished. Man Toayuo walked down the valley. Long Fei could only follow. Xiao and giggled. Young Master Long, little miss won't take the wrong way. I can still play around with the wrong way. How nice he. She was the happiest one, flying around Long Fei like a small butterfly. Long Fei said, You female hooligan. Xiao Ying's face flushed red. I'm not a female rogue. Long Fei said, If you aren't a female rogue, why would you peek at me bathing? You even peek at me urinating? Xiao Ying's face reddened as she dripped water, saying, That was all just a coincidence. I just happened to pass by. How would I know? Argument, Long Fei purposely said, and continued to tease this violent lowly. Xiao Ying's face turned even redder. Half an hour later, they entered the valley. There was a small stream in the valley, and above the stream was a deep pool. At this moment, a roar sounded out in midair. 18 years later, I will be a good man again. Ah, save me. I don't want to die. Fuck, I'm going to die. A figure descended from the sky. Long Fei and the other two looked over, and in that instant, the space between Long Fei's eyebrows sank. His body glowed with a golden light. Equals half carat float, hashtag life, carat, it would be a golden armor. It was at this moment. The system beeped. Ding. Chapter 28_8419/2356929. Woo woo. Woo woo. Ah, I don't want to die. A burst of ghostly howls sounded out in the air like a pig being butchered. Xiao Ying looked at the black figure that was hovering in midair and muttered, Is there anyone else who still wants to jump off a cliff and be martyred by love these days? Wow, isn't this a little too old-fashioned? Man Toayuo stared at her and said, Don't speak nonsense. There seems to be someone at the top of the mountain. Huh, young Master Long, where are you going? You can't be thinking of seeing if it's a man or a woman, right? Even the deaf can tell that the voice just now is a man, and it must be a fatty. Xiao Ying called out. Long Fei said, Damn your sister. Why don't you call me over to listen? Man Toayuo said, Such a high cliff. Jumping down is certain death. What are we still going to do with it? Long Fei didn't listen at all. Because the system rang out just now. Because 5th King Kong, the Holy Armor King Kong appeared. 8 King Kong systems. Holy King Kong Li Yuanba, Demon Subduing Vajra Arhut, Yuling Guardian Warrior Holy Spirit, God, S Water King Kong Lin Yusheng. The 4 King Kong were back. Long Fei kept thinking, were the other 4 Vajra? In all the 3 years in the South Horizon region, there had only been 4 Great King Kong, and the other 4 Great King Kong had disappeared? Or did the system make a mistake? Now that the 5th King had appeared, Long Fei was naturally nervous. He quickly ran up and, if someone jumped off such a high cliff, they might die. But Holy Armor King Kong S, protected by divine armor, definitely would not die. Wait for us. Young Master Long, don't run so fast. Man Toayuo and Xiao Ying hurriedly chased after him. Xiao Ying said, Miss, you must be mentally prepared. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Just like a cannonball exploding, an earth-shaking explosion resounded, causing the entire valley to tremble. The water in the deep lake immediately exploded 100 meters into the air. The pool was half empty. The figure also disappeared into the water. Xiao Ying shook, looked at the huge explosion in the distance, and said, "Such a loud noise is definitely capable of exploding one word, too." Man Tuoyuo was startled. "Why is it It should also be human." Xiao Ying laughed sinisterly. "Miss, if it's a woman, of course it's big. But a man? They have a bit more. So naturally, it's just the word, too." Man Tuoyuo stared at Xiao Ying, and only after a long while did she speak. "Rascal, young Master Long really did not say it out loud. You are just a female ruffian." Huh, Miss, I'm still a child, all right?" Xiao Ying muttered. Man Tuoyuo also rushed forward. At this time, Long Fei had already arrived at the deep pond. Looking up at the sky, he cursed in his heart. "Holy sh*t, this high, it's at least 7 or 8,000 meters high this. You can still live?" Moreover, just as he was looking at the top of the mountain, there were a few shadows moving about. They were too far away and he could only see them. "Don't die. You're my 5th King Kong." Long Fei was a little worried in his heart, but he did not care too much about it. He swiped down forcefully. He saw a huge object at the bottom of the deep pool. Why was it so huge? Because he was really huge, at least 250 kilograms. Moreover, he was only 17 years old at most. Looking from the bottom of the pool, he looked like a lump of meat. My face value dropped all of a sudden. Sigh. Long Fei sighed in his heart, then pulled the huge lump of meat and swam towards the shore. After using all of his strength, he was finally able to get the ball of meat out of the water. Seeing that his face was pale and his entire body was scarlet, it seemed as if he had ruthlessly rubbed it. The words of an ordinary person had long since been dismembered. This fatty. Long Fei pressed on the lump of meat and pressed on it, then patted it, causing it to press on his chest. At the same time, water continued to spew out from the fatty's mouth. A small fish flew out of his mouth. Long Fei was also drunk and shouted, "We can't die, we can't die, we absolutely can't die." The 8 great Vajra. If one of them died, they would become 7 Vajra. If so, they wouldn't be able to trigger the hidden attribute missions of the 8 Vajra body, and thus they would be able to establish their own sections. The order was still with the King Kong. Long Fei shouted as he slapped the fatty. Seeing that the fatty's face was still pale, he showed no signs of waking up at all. "Fuck. Your father's innocence will fall into your hands, fatty." Finished. Long Fei wiped his mouth and swallowed the saliva right into the fatty's mouth. He felt extremely resentful. Why is she not a beauty? Why? Oh God. It was also at this time. Man Tuoyuo and Xiao Ying rushed over. Xiao Ying covered Man Tuoyuo's eyes and anxiously said, "Miss, don't look. It's too disgusting. Please don't look." Her own eyes were wide open, like a magnifying glass, with not a single detail missing. "Young Master Long, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. You're unmoved by leaving us 2 great beauties behind, but you're actually treating a fatty, and a dead fatty at that. Heavens, what's wrong with this world?" Xiao Ying sighed at the sky, feeling that his life had already lost its color, and that there was no hope in this world anymore, that he had lost all hope. Man Tuoyuo pushed her away and quickly walked in front of Long Fei. Long Fei's mouth was still half a centimeter away from the fatty's mouth. Fatty stared angrily as his nose twitched. "There's a beauty." In that instant, his body instantly bounced up. It was also because Long Fei reacted quickly, otherwise he would have been kissed by the fatty. Fatty turned around and stared at Man Tuoyuo beside him, his eyes gleaming. As expected of a beauty, a great beauty, huh? It's 10 times prettier than God Emperor City's floating fragrance garden's top name, Shui Han. Ha! Little beauty, do you want to play with me? Before he could finish his words, Xiao Ying punched out violently with his right fist. "You dare to be powerless against my young miss. Damn fatty, are you seeking death?" The 250 caddies of meat flew back into the deep pool. This time Long Fei did not go to save him, but disdainfully said, "Serves you right." Fatty's body splashed about a few times as he shouted, "I can't swim. I can't swim." Quickly, quickly, quickly save me. Beauty, quickly save me. The three of them had no intention of saving him. Moreover, the water was only half a meter deep, so he had to be a bit more intelligent if he wanted to act. Seeing that everyone had gone down to save him, Fatty could only stand up by himself. With a look of shock on his face, he said, "So the water was not deep after all. Wait, I just jumped down from the top of the mountain." The fatty seemed to have discovered something very shocking. He had an exaggerated expression as he looked at his own hands and feet. He was incomparably excited. "Damn, your father isn't dead yet?" After he finished speaking, he rushed forward, looked at Man Toaluo, and said, "This handsome brother isn't dead. I'm not dead yet." He wanted to grab Man Toaluo in his arms. Floating life. Table of contents. No windows. A++ this time. Ah! Xiaoing punched again, sending the fatty flying and crashing into the water. Fatty's body did not seem to react at all. He stood up and said, "Beautiful girl, it's love if you hit me, but what do you mean by always hitting me? Did you fall in love at first sight or something?" Chapter 38_8419/2356930. Holy Armor King Kong? Holy Armor King Kong? Scoundrel. Long Fei had a headache. He checked the system's quest again. There was no mistake. The fatty in front of him was the one he needed to take back, the fifth king. Holy Armor King Kong. Fatty crawled out of the water again. Without waiting for him to get close to Man Toaluo, Long Fei stepped forward and coldly said, "If you dare to get close to her again, I will cripple you, no matter what." This fatty was too wretched. The fatty looked at Long Fei and casually said, "Who the hell are you?" At this moment, an image suddenly flashed in his mind. He looked at Long Fei, his eyes filled with gratitude, and said, "You saved me. You are my savior. Woo-woo. Benefactor, please accept my Chun Tianfei's bow." Without waiting for Long Fei to reject, Chun Tianfei kneeled down heavily on the ground. Kowtowing fiercely, he said, "From now on you are my Chun Tianfei's brothers. If anyone dares to make a move on you, I will kill them." It was a completely different person. He had a face full of righteousness and tyranny. The change was too fast. Long Fei asked, "Ancestor, what power does he have in his body?" He started to suspect if the system had made a mistake. Was this fatty really the fifth king? Yin Huang Ancestor replied faintly, "I'm not free right now. The dragon Salyer has reached the critical moment." And then his idea glanced at Chun Tianfei for a moment and said, "Its defense is heaven-defying." With these 4 words, the forefather seemed to have disappeared as he no longer spoke. Heaven-defying defense? Long Fei immediately sunk down and looked at the cliff that was thousands of meters high. Even a level ranker would become crippled from falling down from such a height, but this guy was fine. A golden light radiated from his body. That should be right. It should be him. However, Long Fei didn't know that he had a special type of power from the fatty's appearance, which was the power of the divine armor golden light on his body. His defense was heaven-defying. This grade 1 tank. Long Fei was secretly excited in his heart, and then asked, "What business do you have that you can't help but jump off the cliff?" Chun Tianfei took a glance at the peak of the cliff and revealed a sorrowful expression, saying, "I'm out of love." As he spoke, he also wanted to jump into Man Toaluo's embrace, but seeing the murderous look in Long Fei's eyes, he immediately stopped and asked, "Benefactor, what is your name? This place is too evil. Let's hurry up and leave." It was as if he was afraid. He pulled Long Fei to the other side of the mountain. Along the way, the fatty was just a living gem. Every time he was blasted away by Xiaoing, he was not injured at all, and there was not even a single wound on his body. Why don't you know the pain? Damn, this young master has 250 kilograms of meat. If it hits my body, can I feel any pain? Do you think the meat is white? His flesh was his defense. Long Fei, Xiaoling, Man Toaluo, everyone was shocked. So there was such an advantage to being a fatty. Benefactor, wait until God Emperor City. I will give you whatever you want. God Emperor City is my territory. If anyone dares to touch you, humph, I will really kill him. Chen Tianfei said tyrannically. However, before we reach God Emperor City, can you take care of this lovelorn little fatty? Chen Tianfei said shamelessly. His facial expression changed instantly, as though he was flipping through a book. Xiao Ying continuously shook his head as he looked at Long Fei. However, Long Fei smiled and said, "All right." The task was not completed. The mission time was 2 months, and since he was sure that he was the 5th king, he had to take him down. Chen Tianfei was so moved that he almost got moved to tears and threw himself into Man Tuoyuo's arms. Then, bam, 250 pounds of fat flew out. Chen Tianfei patted off the mud on his body and said to Xiao Ying, "I got it. You must have fallen in love with me." "Huh," Xiao Ying disdainfully said. "If I want to fall in love with someone like young Master Long, it's more like I want to fall in love with a blind eye to you, damn fatty." I'm out of love again. My heart hurts. Can a beauty comfort me?" Chen Tianfei leaned into Man Tuoyuo's embrace again. Bam! A meatball flew out again. He's not dead. Boss, what should we do? We can't afford to be blamed by our superiors, and he still has a 3-rate fairy vein on him. So, no matter what, we have to snatch the immortal foundation away, otherwise this time we'll. Humph! In front of us is the Tong Xian City. Our people are already waiting there. Chen Tianfei, you won't be able to escape from my grasp. Within the mountain forest, a few black shadows flashed and disappeared into the dark forest in the blink of an eye. Half a day later, Man Tuoyuo let out a long sigh of relief and said, "I told you that I didn't take the wrong path. I told you that there's a Tong Xian City here. After we pass Tong Xian City, we can walk on the official road for 3 days to reach God Emperor City, and God Emperor Academy is right there." Chen Tianfei was startled. "Are you guys going to the God Emperor Academy to take the assessment?" Long Fei nodded and said, "Yes." "Ha! I have already been accepted by the God Emperor Academy. From now on, the 3 of you will follow me. I guarantee that no one will dare to touch you." Chen Tianfei's face was full of pride. Long Fei was still all right. Man Tuoyuo and Xiao Ying asked in disdain, "You received a pass? Does God Emperor Academy still want to raise pigs?" F***CK. I'm not lying to you guys. I'm really accepted by the God Emperor Academy, and it's a good one at that. Chen Tianfei wanted to show off, but no one believed him. Of his 10 sentences, 12 were false. No one believed it at all. Let's enter the city and rest for a day. We'll travel tomorrow, Long Fei said. After walking for almost a month, the 3 of them were like savages running out of the mountains. They entered the city. Some of the people walking beside them looked at them with disdain. Where did this earth leopard come from? Country bumpkin. He stinks like a wild man. Picking up feces. God damn. Do you look down on my benefactor? Chen Tianfei caught hold of the person who said Long Fei and the others and slapped him. "If you say anything more, I'll kill you." Very arrogant. Furthermore, he had the look of a popinjay, just like a hoodlum. After being slapped by him, the surrounding crowd instantly quieted down. Chen Tianfei shouted, "God damn, if there's anyone in God Emperor City who dares to talk to me like that, then he's already dead." Long Fei glanced at him and smiled. The 4 of them walked into an inn. The shopkeeper saw that Long Fei was not wearing any clothes on his body and immediately shouted, "Scram, scram, scram. You country bumpkins, hurry up and scram. We do not entertain you savages here." Long Fei glanced at Chen Tianfei. Immediately, the meatball was enraged. Chapter 48_8419/2356931. Chen Tianfei took a step forward and ruthlessly slapped the shopkeeper's face. Chen Tianfei took a step forward and ruthlessly slapped the shopkeeper's face. He was in charge of everything. Without waiting for him to stop, Chen Tianfei used his leg to kick him, causing him to fall onto the ground. He stomped on the face of the manager, spitting on the shopkeeper's face. The shopkeeper was beaten into a daze, and his brain short-circuited. He shouted, "Brat, do you know who I am? To dare to lay your hands on me, I'll see who you are." Not waiting for him to finish, Chun Tianfei's 250 catty body fiercely pressed down. Poochie. The shopkeeper was so full of shit that he had broken a few bones, and his face was incomparably pale. It was also at this time. Chun Tianfei took out a golden note from his chest, threw it on the manager's face, and said disdainfully, "Is that enough?" Gold banknotes. The lowest denomination was 100,000 taels. The shopkeeper's eyes lit up, and he agreed. Enough is enough, enough is enough. 100,000 gold notes was enough to buy 10 of these shops. The shopkeeper was overjoyed in his heart as he laughed in his heart. What a fool, ha-ha. He's completely brainless. Is that enough? I haven't. Chun Tianfei looked at the shop assistant who had started eyeing him covetously, hooked his fingers, and said, "Hit him ruthlessly." Who hit him the most ruthlessly? 1,000 gold liangs. The shop assistant's eyes quivered, and as if they had been injected with chicken blood, they began to crazily punch and kick the shopkeeper. Holy armor King Kong? This was simply a popinjay, Vajra. Humph. You dare to be arrogant with me. I'll be afraid, even if I were to be arrogant. Chun Tianfei walked to Long Fei's side and giggled. Benefactor, everything is settled. Before he could finish his words, he saw a beautiful woman sitting at a table not far away from him. He immediately ran up and stepped on the stool. He made a sad expression and said, "Beauty, I can." "Oh, piggy." The woman let out a scream and ran out. Chun Tianfei tilted his head and looked at the other woman who was not far away. "Beautiful girl, eat whatever you want. Let's talk about life after we finish eating." The woman trembled as she continuously retreated, fleeing from the hotel as she shouted, "Pervert!" Next, everyone in the store was scared out of their wits. The shopkeeper was also beaten half to death as he crawled out. Chun Tianfei looked at the empty restaurant and disdainfully said, "Just nice. No one will disturb us for our meal. Hurry up. My benefactor is starving. If there's anything good to eat, bring it all to me. Less than 100 dishes, I'll take the life of the chef." Chun Tianfei said in a very displeased tone. Looking at the fleeing ladies, he sighed in his heart. How come no one can find me handsome? Sigh. Only God Emperor Academy's fragrance court has good taste. An average person really wouldn't be able to discover 250 caddies worth of handsome meat. There is only one type of person that could be found, a blind person. Long Fei smiled slightly as he looked at Chun Tianfei and said, "Sometimes I really need this kind of playboy young master. At least he's missing a lot of flies." Xiao Ying said in disdain, "Using money to smash people." Oof. After a while, a large wave of dishes were served, and the four of them started to eat. Chun Tianfei said, "All of you stay guard at the door. Whoever dares to disturb this young master's meal, beat them to death for me. If anything happens, I will take responsibility." How could a man who could buy a hotel so easily have a simple identity? The four waiters immediately guarded the door, chasing away all the guests who had entered. "Benefactor, if not for you saving me today, there would be one less handsome man in this world. For handsome men, for the beauties of this world, let me toast you." Chun Tianfei finished it in one gulp. Xiao Ying said with disdain, "Stop talking. I'm about to vomit." Chun Tianfei giggled and said, "Little beauty, are you pregnant with my child?" "You." Xiao Ying was so angry that smoke rose from his head. He clenched his fist tightly. Chun Tianfei immediately added, "It's just a joke. Don't be so serious. It's normal for a pretty girl like you to like handsome men like me." Xiao Ying said, "Shameless, your skin is thicker than tree bark." Suddenly, boom, one of the employees was directly kicked in, smashing a table into pieces. Bang, bang, bang. 3 consecutive sounds. The 3 waiters were all kicked unconscious. Chun Tianfei was enraged. "Fuck you. Who dared to behave atrociously here after eating the heart of a bear leopard?" It was also at this time. More than 10 uniformed disciples surrounded the door. A middle-aged man slowly walked in with a disdainful sneer on his face. He said, "Marquis Chun Xiaolian, it's me." Chun Tianfei's gaze tightened, and his expression abruptly changed. The domineering aura of a popinjay wasn't even halfway left on his body as he said to Long Fei in a low voice, "I've met a tough opponent." Chun Tianfei said, "So it's Butler Morong. What are you doing here instead of staying in the Morong Prince's mansion?" Morong Yi, a steward of the Morong Prince's estate. He was also one of the instructors of the Morong mansion. Very powerful. Long Fei looked at Man Tualuo, and the expression in his eyes wavered. Morong Yi laughed coldly. "Of course it's for you. Be more honest. Hand over the three-rate fairy vein." Three-rate fairy vein? What three-rate fairy vein? I don't even know what you're talking about. Chun Tianfei pretended not to know. Morong Yi said coldly, "Try to act dumb with me?" Suddenly, Morong Ye's body moved and instantly landed beside Chun Tianfei. The iron claw on his right hand was glowing with a cold light as he pressed it directly against Chun Tianfei's lower jaw. Three-rate fairy vein. It was priceless and extremely precious. Even the nobles and nobles of the God Emperor city couldn't easily take it out. The three-rate fairy vein was the life-saving immortal root of the Chun family and was obtained by Chun Tianfei when he risked his life. It was even more difficult than killing him. Chun Tianfei said, "Morong Yi, if you have the guts, kill me. You want to use the three-rate fairy vein?" "In your dreams." Morong Ye's forehead turned sinister and said, "Kill you? Where do I find three-rate fairy vein after killing you? Then it should be a fire cloud fairy root, right? You want to use it to save your grandfather's life? Haha. Do you think you can save him?" Chun Tianfei's expression tightened and shouted, "Morong Yi, how did you know?" Morong Yi laughed. "We know a lot of things. Do you think you can find the Fire Cloud Cave with just your strength? If it wasn't for your fused armor and immortal foundation, would we even need you? F*CK. You use lousy as a gun?" Chun Tianfei thought that it was strange that he would get the immortal foundation treasure map for no reason. He never expected that all of this would be a scheme. Morong Yi said, "Hand it over. Even if you don't hand it over, we still have a way. This is your best chance." Floating Life's strongest upgrade system, Chun Tianfei roared, "Kill me if you dare." Morong Ye's eyes flashed with killing intent and said coldly, "You think I do not dare?" It was also at this time. Long Fei raised his wine cup, glanced at Morong Yi from the corner of his eyes, and said with contempt, "If you have the guts, try it." Chapter 5 8_8419/2356932. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's body also released a burst of killing intent. Intense killing intent. Chun Tianfei was his holy armor King Kong, his person. If anyone dared to move. Table of contents. Chun Tianfei was grateful in his heart, but he was very clear about the Mu Rong family's power and immediately said, "Benefactor, it's not your fault. You should quickly leave." He was a man of principle. He definitely wouldn't allow his brother to carry him when there was trouble. He was extremely grateful that Long Fei had saved him. Along the way, he kept acting like a fool and flirted with Man Tualuo because he did not want Long Fei to guess his identity. He also made up his mind that as long as he could reach God Emperor City, he would leave Long Fei, because God Emperor City was even more dangerous. She didn't want to drag Long Fei into the water. Morong Ye's pair of eyes turned slightly. He stared at Long Fei and sneered. This time, there really is a person who doesn't fear trouble. The holy sixth rank dares to be so arrogant in front of me. Umph! Morong Ye's figure moved. Suddenly he attacked Xiang Long Fei and asked, "Who gave you the right to be arrogant?" A killing move. The netherworld claw attacked. Long Fei's eyes moved. At this time, Man Tualuo slightly nodded his head. Boom! Long Fei clenched his fists. Without waiting for Morong Yi to rush forward, he punched out. Immortal Divine Fist. Holy sixth rank. Almost looking to die. Morong Yi did not even put Long Fei in his eyes. the holy sixth rank was just too weak. However, just at that moment, his power suddenly disappeared, and he could no longer feel anything. His heart sank as he shouted in fear. "What's going on?" Boom! A fist landed on Murongye's chest, and the chest turned into wood. Without waiting for Murongye to react, Long Fei threw out a second fist, then a third, and a fourth. Bang, bang, bang. 18 consecutive punches. It directly pierced through Murongye's abdomen and completely turned his chest into rotten wood. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Murongye for obtaining 1700 experience, 100 power of celestial, and 100 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining golden stakes. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining inferior grade fairy stones. Not bad. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curved up as he looked at the corpse on the ground and sneered. To kill you, holy sixth rank is enough. Chen Tianfei was stunned. Stupid. He had thought along the way that Long Fei was not strong, that the holy sixth rank was too weak, and that he was only at the 8th level of the immortal realm. Seeing Long Fei kill Murongye, he was completely dumbfounded. So powerful. Of course, he did not know that this was the reason why Man Taoyuo had used poison. Otherwise, Long Fei would not be Murongye's match. With such a strong opponent present, it was as if Chen Tianfei had turned into a completely different person. Mother of asterisk her, if you have the guts, come at me. The expressions of the tight uniformed guards changed. The strength that Long Fei had released was too tyrannical. He instantly killed Murongye. This is the holy sixth rank. Immediately, the guards quickly retreated, not daring to stay for another half a second. Chen Tianfei said arrogantly, "Grandson, if you have guts, don't run. Come and bite your grandfather's neck. Benefactor, you saved my life again. You are just too handsome. Just a little bit worse than me," Chen Tianfei shamelessly said. He looked at Long Fei and said, "But the Murong clan will not let us go so easily. Let's hurry up and go." The Murong family's power in the God Emperor city was extremely strong. Chen Tianfei was very worried in his heart. Long Fei asked, "Where to?" Chen Tianfei said, "Go to the God Emperor city and head back to God Emperor city before them. You all must quickly enter the God Emperor Academy." No matter how strong he was still not strong enough to be a God Emperor Academy. Once you enter the God Emperor Academy, no one will dare to act rashly. Not to mention the Murong King's manor. At this moment, another group of people came to the door. "You want to escape? Humph. Fatty Chun, all of you will die here today." The black-clothed man wielded his sword and shouted, "You guys take care of that poison master first." The reason Murongye died just now was not because he was that strong. It was because of Man Taoyuo. Chen Tianfei's gaze tightened. "It's you guys again, are you guys? I'll fight it out with you." At this moment, Long Fei grabbed Fatty Chen's shoulder and said, "Listen to my command." Chen Tianfei was startled and said, "Benefactor, what method do you have?" "They're all experts of the spiritual level, and all of them are experts of the sword." "You do it. I will be the main attacker." "You must be a sword expert, right?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back and said, "It's time to practice the infinite sword that has been cultivating for a month." Long Fei did not linger during the journey. Instead, he continued to cultivate the infinite sword. This was Master Yi's sword truth. Chen Tianfei muttered and said, "What do you mean by 'I'm sorry'?" Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei pushed him out of the way and said, "Block his attack." Huh. Chen Tianfei was like a meatball as he staggered forward. In his heart, Long Fei thought, "Its defense is heaven-defying, a holy armor King Kong." Following that, Long Fei held onto a chopstick, his figure following closely behind Chen Tianfei's huge body. A sword struck out, and, at the same time, he shouted in his heart, "Infinite sword." The sword intent instantly changed. The sword intent on Long Fei's body became extremely intense, as if it had fused into a berserk realm. Break! As the chopsticks pierced outwards, Chun Tianfei's body sank in, and he withstood the attack with all his might. His body was completely unharmed, and it was also at this time. A chopstick pierced through his throat. First kill. Long Fei grabbed Chun Tianfei and pushed him again, his body suddenly becoming stronger. Teleportation. The chopsticks moved, aiming at the back of his head. Second kill. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei. If Long Fei did not stop, then the sword intent of the infinite sword would not stop. A powerful sword intent wrapped itself around his body. At this moment, Long Fei felt that he was a sword saint. Whoosh, 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 asterisk, triple murder. Again, Long Fei's body charged forward again, his speed becoming faster and faster, as though his body was dragging a long string of afterimages, like he was a master. Fourth killer. 5 kills, 5 kills. Long Fei's heart exploded. Fourth level, peerless. With his 16-fold increase in elemental energy, the chi around his body became even stronger, and this time he did not make use of Chun Tianfei, but charged forward by himself. In that instant, the sword moved for the man in black and said solemnly, "I don't believe it. A mere trash of the holy 6th rank is my match." Sky-piercing sword technique. One move. It was as if water from another world was poured down, enveloping Long Fei within countless sword moves. One step forward. Shout and cried out in alarm. "Young Master Long, be careful." Man Toaluo's mind also tensed up. He was so afraid that he couldn't say a word. Chun Tianfei's buttocks went limp as he thought to himself, "We're doomed." Ah! Long Fei was enraged and roared. Alpha Assault. Fifth killing. Chapter 6, add a chapter and a monthly ticket. Thank you. 8_8419/2356933. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.